Alright, test, test, test. Neat. This might as well be on. Everything will be muted on the actual stream. You might be Rusty DT. Hard to tell. Cause if I go over to my streaming page, it still says 0 viewers. I don't know if this ever you know, does things. What? It was over. It's over. What are you guys talking about? Twitch chat, please. Let's go to Twitch right now. Alright. So here's the stream. It was a best of 3. It's done. They're doing an interview. I ain't got time for that. Sure, they've got a lot of interesting things to say, and definitely not, we're just going to get stomped on by Gen G tomorrow, but whatever. Or Dig, whichever one they're against. But, yeah, this is... The games are over, alright? Come on now. Come on now. Yeah, yeah, so if I pull this back over again... So this just says 5, but if I go to the actual chat, this is like 7, plus myself. I don't know if that even counts. So, I don't know, Twitch is pretty slow on updating, like, that information. Whatever. I've got 12 subscribers. Pretty neat. 12 subscribers. That's a few pizzas per month. Alright, people are joining. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see. I still want to wait a little bit more for people to join. You guys can look at my plate of pasta that I have. There you go. Half eaten already. Still working on it. I eat really slowly. Tempo Dig game? Oh yeah. Can't wait to go over those games. So there are a lot of BlizzCon announcements that happened. I saw a lot of stuff on Reddit. I think I don't want to start with any of that. I'm just going to start with the analysis. And then if there's enough time at the end of the stream today, or the end of the stream tomorrow, then I'll do it then. Otherwise, I'll just do it another day, because there is a lot of stuff to go over. The biggest one being the changes to how forts and how structures give experience and how they work. Start with Diablo. No, I'm not. No. I'm not. I only care about HOTS. I don't care about the other games. Pasta analysis? Alright. It's pretty decent pasta. Standard spaghetti with tomato sauce and then some ground beef. Diablo Mobile? Yeah. I don't know. It kind of makes sense as a mobile game, just in general, because it is... I don't know. I've never played it, so I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but it did seem like a game that was... That at the very least, even if people hate the fact that it's going to mobile, because mobile games are... a lot of them are pretty cancerous. At the very least, the way that the game is played, in terms of the controls and stuff, seems to be pretty easy to port over to mobile. Everyone needs a hot take. I mean, alright, it seems like you might, if you have a game and you can put it on mobile, you might as well, because that's a massive market that you don't get access to if you're only on PC or console. It doesn't, being on mobile doesn't make the game any worse by itself. You can definitely have gameplay limitations if you're only on mobile or if you're trying to cater to mobile, but And I mean, this is a separate game from Diablo 3, because if it was literally Diablo 3 on mobile, then I'd just say, alright, they're just moving it to mobile in addition. So this is a separate game. It could have all of the mobile game issues. I saw a thing on Reddit where people were saying that it might be produced by a separate company, that Blizzard sold the rights to a separate company, but I don't know any details about that. So Warcraft 3 remaster, I don't know. No idea. Warcraft 3, even like Warcraft 3 esports was before I started watching esports or anything, so I have no idea about any of that. It is definitely Warcraft 3 is definitely a progenitor of a lot of good games. Orphea looks ridiculously OP. She looks like her Q is like her only good ability. Initial thoughts on new changes? I mean, I'll give like a quick couple sentences. If it was Riot Games with League of Legends, or if it was Valve with Dota, I would give them a lot more trust in the big gameplay changes that they're making. But because their track record in the past, even just these past few months, has been pretty poor, I am a lot more cynical and a lot more doubtful that they've done the proper research, preparation, and planning to actually execute those changes properly and to make them work for casuals and for competitive. And my initial impression isn't just, oh yeah, they made the change for casuals, but that is definitely part of my initial impression, is these changes were to make the casual players on Reddit that complain about snowballing so much just shut up for the rest of the game. Because those were the changes on Braxis too. And you could just say the changes that they made to Braxis and the changes that they are making coming into next year do seem pretty similar in terms of goal and thought process, and the Braxis changes failed. So ongoing monetization. I mean, a real money auction house is just ridiculous. That does not belong in a game. Other than a shitty mobile game. If you want to have a crappy mobile game with a real money auction house, go ahead. But when Diablo 3 released originally with a real money auction house, that was a meme. That was just a joke. Fan being the best player in the world, everyone knows that's not true. Fan knew it wasn't true when he said it. It's just to hype up the hype video. The BlizzCon video. And if we want to talk about, you know, random non-statements, I could pull up a real quick tweet right now. Let me find it. Right here. So, I mean, any pro player that does not want to get Urhoed could basically copy-paste this, change the year, and change the team name that you lost to in the tournament. You could basically copy-paste this word for word. And it's just a very non-statement. And it's better than saying nothing, I guess, but it's also worse than saying anything else, I guess. Good morning. Where are you from, corny moot? Morning. Alright, well you can see down here it's evening for me. But yeah. Alright, let me actually check this Twitter message real quick. Alright. Alright. Alright, we got people in here. So let's just get started with the analysis. Hott's player do I respect the most? McIntyre. McIntyre and Crone both, where they got kicked off their teams and fell out of HGC and then worked through the open division to get back in. I'm not as familiar with other players from other regions, their background. No, I'll analyze the game. There may or may not be some music or other things to make it more entertaining. Drafting and shot calling. I'll go into more depth when we get to it, because I do have some information about the NA teams going into BlizzCon, because we did scrim against them a decent bit before playoffs as Octalysis. So, and I mean, like, I'm never going to say any information before it happens, but when it does happen and when the teams are eliminated, then that information is pretty free to talk about more. So I will be able to go into some detail about. Yeah, I mean, I can't give I can give a reason why Bladestorm was picked. It still won't be a great reason, and it's not going to satisfy people, but I can give a reason for why. Alright, so let's just start the analysis. So, Gen.G versus the One. The One, I mean, they did better than Tempo in groups, and they were in the weaker group, though, too. Spoilers for anybody, but as we will see, the One's group was the stronger group. Setting that makes a sub not show up on Twitch? What do you mean by that? It says you're subbed to me, Flannel Tie, if you're asking about being subbed to me. Samurai without Illusion Master? Yeah, you could very well argue that Bladestorm is actually a DPS decrease for Samurai. I want to actually look at that. Hold on. Let's quickly pull up the scaling stats, because I actually want to do figure this out right now, because it'll bother me if I don't look at it right now. Really quickly, let's look at the scaling stats for this, because I actually do want to know if it's a DPS decrease or not for Samurai. So let's just say level 10, his DPS is 271, and then you have to add in his trait thingy, this thing, which is something like this, 34. So he's at about 300 DPS, and then his ultimate, these are not going to be exact estimations, so then this DPS, so it is a very small DPS increase for a single target. Very small. And, I mean, I didn't, there's level 1 talents and other stuff that affect this talent and stuff. You could probably add a bit more with, like, Phantom Pain or the Burning Blade or something. And it probably will come out to be a bit more even, that this is the same DPS as your just level 10 auto attack DPS. 4 random Grandmasters could win. Yeah. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, I can move over quickly. Flannel Tide says you're a subscriber. So does that count? So from the level 1, no, I only 340 is just your baseline W plus your baseline auto attacks, not counting any talents, because I'm not gonna go into talents a ton. But it's not like you press Bladestorm and suddenly before where you were doing some amount of DPS, you're suddenly doing twice as much and you burst somebody. No, you press Bladestorm and you're just unstoppable and you can move around a little bit more, but you're not doing more damage unless you're getting AoE damage value. Clones get a damage buff from the 10 talent. Yeah, that's... Well, do they? Do they even get a damage buff anymore? Didn't they change that when Samurai got reworked? Hold on a second. Because his clones have no attack damage anymore. They have this much attack damage. Do they actually get more damage anywhere from the talent? Do they? I feel like they don't anymore. I feel like that's just... Oh no, it does give them an extra 22 DPS. Alright, whatever. Whatever. Alright, let's get to analysis now. Alright, fair enough. Let's fast forward through the draft, because in these drafts, I already watched the games, so I'm not making draft predictions, but basically Gen.G got every single hero they could have ever dreamed of getting. And the One seemed to have been scrimming against Tempo Storm a lot with this stuff here, whatever this is, instead of getting like a Li Ming, because it's Battlefield of Eternity. I don't know why they have an Anub so early on, when there's a Garrosh, and him and Diablo are the two best tanks in the game right now. So, basically Gen.G gets one of the best tanks in the game. Tier 1.5 support. One of the two best offlaners in the game, and the two best ranged DPS for the map. And the One gets a Greymane and Nubrak. And then they proceed to do things. And by do things, I mean not really do things, but, you know, they tried. At least they tried. Oh, too far forward. Alright, so as we can see, one favor of the One, they do have the Tyrande. They have map hacks. Look at those map hacks. Hey, their enemy team sitting top lane because they're expecting us to cheese. Haha, maybe we'll try and cheese bottom. Oh wait, there's a Garrosh. We're not going to cheese bottom anymore. But basically, Gen.G's going to win every single Immortal phase ever because they have the poke. They win the burn race too, I'm pretty sure. Malthael's burn is not great. Win this while updating their Facebook profiles. So here's a random thing where, as we can see on the map, Gen.G's even scouted, I believe, the One leaving the bottom lane. And then, so where's the one? They're not in lane here. They're not in lane here. We just saw them down here for a little bit. So they're somewhere in here. And when you know that they're somewhere in here, then what you do is, especially if your 4-man is bottom lane trying to force this camp or something, then you don't do this. Which is, I mean, you're mounted, so this is good right now. Kyocha is safe now. But then he randomly runs up. And then after running up and seeing these heroes here, instead of running over here, where he's still completely safe, he, for some reason, he like scouts. So he sees, beyond that, he sees right here. He's running up here to scout this camp, because maybe the one got there. But right here, you see a noob Greymane. And he still goes to scout the camp, so his camera's just not even here, not even looking at the minimap. And then in addition to that, he can still run here and be completely safe. And he runs directly back into them, and just feeds. And that's actually just so bad. Because this is so bad. They could take this entire wall right now, but they don't, because they're the one. So they go to do a merc camp. They get a free kill on Blaze. There's no one here defending this lane. And instead of pushing the entire wall down with their Nubrak Greymane, to actually, you know, use the heroes as they are for what they're strong at. No, I'm not going to talk about the BlizzCon changes in depth unless there's time at the end of the stream today or end of the stream tomorrow, because there is 4 best of 3s to go over today, and we have to start late because BlizzCon ends a bit later. Camp value though, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the hell was that. That was just dumb. That was actually just inting into the enemy team. And then the enemy team decides, hey, let's get a camp. Because the funny thing is, too, is Genji sees 4 heroes here, and then they start the camp. So in the end of the day, they got a kill, and then their kill ended up being an even trade still. So the only advantage they got, because he already cleared the wave out too, the only advantage they got was the kill experience, which is non-existent. You cannot just take kills and then go back to doing nothing. You get kills, you do things while the people are dead, while you have a 5v4. Yeah, the camp call is awful. Also, thanks for the sub, Bodhisat TV4. I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, you can link in chat. I don't have a chat bot or anything. So, basically, the one got a kill, they did nothing, and now Blaze is back to lane. And they're going to try and go on Garrosh. He's not going to die. He's Garrosh. They're not even going to come close to killing him, honestly. So, yeah, that's their experience lead that they have. When the mini waves are getting cleared, because Blaze is still catching this wave here, and Genji's still catching this wave here. So they've still got, like, a full minion wave, basically, to catch up on experience here. And then we'll be able to see that the experience lead is basically non-existent when the one needs to do things outside the immortal phase, because the immortal phase, they just lose in. So now both teams are doing this. Genji does have minor map hacks to try and scout if the one is invading them. But the one is just doing their own camp. And time to watch the one do nothing and lose immortal phase. See their big issue too. First of all, Genji has the 2 best poke heroes in the map, where they can sit just here and poke wherever the immortal is. In addition to that, Garrosh is one of the best defenders on the immortal, him and Diablo basically, where if your best damage is a Greymane, he can't hit the immortal, because he hits the immortal, he gets thrown into immortal stuns and dies. So, the heck? Yeah, so Blaze is defending against Malthael with the Night Camp, Tyrell's defending this Night Camp, but Li Ming already cleared this wave, and she's rotating up, so now they're going to have a 4v3 here. And Blaze is going to be able to collapse as well, so this is a 4v3, 5v4 kind of situation, and they're getting free poke now. And one big thing to note here is only one range DPS from Genji is poking at a time when they see the one posturing. What is happening a lot of the time in this game, or what will happen, they could have tried to push. The problem is if they try to push, they lose so much damage on their immortal to Hanzo Li Ming. So it's hard to do, and it's pushing into a Blaze. There's not really a good option for them. Maybe they could have ran bottom and pushed down there. But you're against a Blaze and a Garrosh, 2 of the best like push defenders against a wall. Best defenders of the immortal, and against 2 poke heroes that are going to just burn the immortal very quickly if you do commit to a lane. But what we're going to see, when Genji is posturing for poking the immortal, these 2 range DPS are not going to be stacked on top of each other, unless the one is like back here not threatening anything. If the one is like stepping forward, Li Ming is holding a flank by herself, because she's safe. She can't be hit by a Nubrex CC. She can't be engaged on, so if she can scout a flank safely, and then if they try and engage on her, she blinks away and she's safe. So what that means is there's going to be a nice arc of vision, where Blaze is going to give vision, Hanzo's going to have a vision arrow, he doesn't want to be near the Anub because he can get engaged on, Garrosh is going to give vision from wherever he is, Li Ming will give vision from wherever he is, and then Deckard will be safe. And that is just how Genji is going to play it, and the one has to somehow get past 3 heroes plus a vision arrow that are going to be constantly scouting them. So in the end, it looks like the one's committing to burn here. No, they're not. They're trying to fight, but the halfway is already done. Alright, they're trying to engage on a Garrosh. He presses unstoppable. Alright, so they're just down the entire half of the Immortal. And their only experience lead is still just the kill that they got on Blaze. And Anub is too poked out to even be able to defend. And they're trying to burn with Malthael, but even here, even if they did somehow defend this 5v4 or 4v5, get an insane trade and chunk out 2 people on Genji. Li Ming sits here or here, throws stuff over the wall. Hanzo sits back here, throws stuff against this wall, and you still lose the burn phase. Malthael does not burn very quickly. And I mean, they're not even winning the 4v5. So that is an extremely healthy Immortal. Their comp, which like Hanzo scales a lot, and when the Immortals get even stronger, it's a lot more about the Immortal control rather than being able to side push lanes. And maybe they could have committed to just a race here, honestly, because they were in position for it. They were looking for a gank, a pickoff here. There may or may not have been Tron map packs somewhere here. But they could have actually, this could have been something they do, is they just push here with a new Brat Greymane and leave Tyrael back here to catch Soak. And then they just trade out this entire fort for this entire fort. Because with Tehran, they can ignore Blaze's damage with those 3 or 4 heroes together. But instead, they're rotating very late to this Immortal. Yeah, Malthael is not good at racing. He was never really amazing at racing. He was just, for an offlaner, he has good DPS, but... Alright, they're trying to flank. And they get scouted. You can see how far back Genji is. Nobody's even hitting the wall, because they don't know where the one is. They just got owled from here, so they know Tehran's here, at this angle. None of them are auto-attacking this wall. Reset even backs off to pre-tap when he's at full HP and half mana. Because they know the only way any issues happen for Genji is if the one gets a flank on them and engages on them. If they're able to just do this, especially when the one is as 5 too, I didn't notice that, but yeah, Malthael cleared over Blaze and then rotated with Pale Horse, so that this was actually 5 heroes here, and Blaze would have called that. So now they play safe. The one doesn't find the engage. Now Blaze can catch up, and now it's a 5v5 where the one is in front of them. And they're just going to kill Tehran too. What happened to Tehran here? Is this just... Okay, the Immortal swipes are in. Yeah. And they completely bail on the Tehran. A noob probably could have tried to tank the throw for her or something. But even here, yeah, the game's over. the game's over here. This entire fort is dead for sure. Whatever kills Genji gets is whatever kills they get. There's pretty much no way the one can get counter kills when their only real damage is a Greymane. If Malthael tries to fight into a 4v5, 3v5, without a support especially, he's just going to get focused down and killed. There's a ton of CC to make sure he can't dodge Li Ming spells and Hanzo damage. So that's a full level lead. This fort's dead, and the one's comp does not have any scaling. It's not like they get level 10 and they can suddenly do some insane engages with a Hanzo ult or with a VP. They have nothing. They're just going to sit there, and these heroes are just going to throw spells. The noob BlizzCon HOTS changes? I'm not sure. Definitely not a positive feeling about them. Definitely mixed feelings. Alright, the one, you got a camp. There's this camp pushing here. And maybe, you know, what the one could do is they could leave one hero here and freeze this lane and get some soak advantage. And Genji, this wall is already dead. They'd have a hard time actually sieging into the fort. But Malthael's going to push it out. So, at some point, Blaze is going to go up here and soak the lane. Probably pretty soon. Let me make sure I'm on camera. And let me make the camera a little bit smaller so we can see a new bolt. There we go. Good. Nope, they're just not even going to soak. They're going to 5-man push this. Alright. I mean, I guess they can do this too. The one's wave clear is pretty bad. Just Greymane Qs and Tyrael spells is all that they have. Alright, here's the Malthael flank. One last YOLO fight before Genji's level 10. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. And Genji's going to force this down with level 10 maybe? No, they don't quite have it. Not enough experience in this lane. Alright, so other than Blaze feeding up here top, Genji's just sat there, they won this Immortal for free, and they haven't taken any risky fights or anything. They just have kited back, not fought while they're down a man, while they don't know where the one is, and then as soon as they're grouped up, they're way, way stronger. And see how far back Deckard is. He's not walking up and auto-attacking the Immortal, because that's how you throw a game, is your Deckard gets caught out. He's sitting within an entire concave of his team. He auto-attacked the Immortal once during that entire halfway phase. Because there's no need to take a risk. Now the one, I think they showed a lot of people bottom now. Looks like they're trying to push that bottom wall with their Greymane. Definitely during this entire Immortal phase they should have gotten some kind of push. Because what has Greymane been doing this entire time? He finished this camp off, and then he wandered to the middle. And then he decided, alright, let's go bottom. And then he went bottom, and then they killed this night camp off, and then they never even touched this wall. And Anubarak's been top this whole time. Alright. So the one not really doing anything this game. They have not ran up to a wall with Greymane and Anubarak, even when they have scouted Genji's positions and found it and seen that there was a vulnerable position, such as bottom lane. Li Ming was the one down here clearing, and they probably would have seen Garrosh mid with their Tyrande. And even if they don't know, as long as they... If they find Garrosh in the middle of the map and they know he's not behind the wall, they should know that they're safe to push up. Blaze was top. If they find people mid, then they can push bottom when it's only Li Ming down there. But they haven't done any of that. And they're getting snowballed on really hard. And look at how far back Genji is again. Like, look at Genji's setup for this Immortal. Look at their positioning, like, as they walk up to this. So it just finished. Tyrande misses everything. Blaze isn't there yet. Do they walk out of their gate? Have they... Alright. Garrosh is walking in a little bit. Li Ming probably queued this bush down here. Because nobody on the one is shown for the past while. Alright. They're in this bush, waiting for Blaze to get here still. No rush to go forward because the Immortal hasn't spawned yet. Hanzo Vision was up here. Li Ming's still checking bushes down here with her abilities. Now she's scouting this entire flank. She sees the owl and avoids stepping in it there, so the one doesn't get information. She does step in it too early there, though. The vision lasts a lot longer than you would think. So the one does know Li Ming's on this flank, but she's checking this bush with her Q. Look at all this. I think Hanzo just shot a vision arrow up here on the upper flank. He's super far back. Look at this. It's just not possible to engage into this comp when they're scouting the flanks like this, and you don't have heroes that can do anything beyond an Anubarak burrow. So at this point, Tyrael's going to run in, alright. And Genji kites back, alright. They are getting decent damage on the Immortal during that entire time. That Anubarak burrow looked really weird. Don't know why Malthael has Tormented Souls. Don't know why Cocoon came out this late. Alright, so how does this fight start? It starts with Tyrael queuing in. And Anub is over here, alright? So Tyrael lost half his HP. And there's no target for the one. Hanzo Ult comes in for a decent stun. Deckard Sleep does get sancted. It's a pretty good sanct to stop any kind of engage on them here, but at the same time Anub has been isolated. Throw taunt, CC'd really hard. Does he just never cocoon? Can he not cocoon, I guess? I don't know, because like you're the one, you're never going to kill these two tanks. You go on Garrosh, he unstoppables it, he just tanks through all your damage, he taunts somebody, they die. You go on Blaze, he has a bunker. So you have to get on somebody else. What I don't understand is why there's no cocoon and then engage on this Deckard even. Because this could be a decent engage. They just walked forward and then got Hanzo ulted, and then they used Sanct, and then their Anubarak had to burrow out, And they have this random Tormented Souls that doesn't do anything. And then their Nubrak commits suicide. And then also Blaze commits suicide here. What does Blaze do here? He just charges in and misses everything. And then that's when Decker gets cocooned. He would have lived if Decker didn't get cocooned. Tehran using 7? I didn't even see where Tehran 7 got used. Is it even used yet? Was it used earlier than this? Was it used earlier than... Oh, wait, where did it get used? What is that? Some of the most useless Tehran 7 I've ever seen. Used it on a full health Greymane. Alright. That Divine Shield? What, you mean the Sanct? I mean, the Sanct was decent. The Sanct was there to stop Garrosh from, like... Because Garrosh, if there's no Sanct here, Garrosh walks into the 3 of them and taunts them all. But they instead just went for the isolation, playing around the Sanct. But unless this team gets the chance to throw three or four of their heroes onto one of Genji's backliners, and Genji's backliners can't get away from that, then they can't win the team fight. Now that, wow, another great Tehran 7. What is this? This is a 30-second cooldown that he just wasted for the second time in this team fight. Alright. So Blaze did overextend there with his charge, not hitting anything. And that is 100% of the, Genji's deaths are on Blaze. There go map hacks top from Tehran. And they're again running together as 5. Alright. China bush gank in a bush that Genji has no reason to ever go into. If they wanted that gank to succeed, they need to either get into this bush or this bush here. Because why would Genji ever go near this bush? This camp is cleared. And there's no push or anything, so they don't need to be down here. So all they need to do is run up to this camp, where the big minion wave is, where the one could potentially push. And I mean, maybe they could say, alright, Genji is most likely going to rotate up this massive minion wave that we expect to push. Let's push bottom. Let's see if they do that. Alright, they're clearing up the siege camp. And that Tyrande is on the camp, sure. So they see that Genji's not on the camp. You can see the line of the vision. Takes forever to go away. Alright, Hanzo waited enough time for that, so they're not going to know that he started the camp by himself. Is still a little bit risky. He doesn't... Who was showed down here? It's only 3 heroes that showed down here. Tyrael and Malthael have not showed for a while, so it could be possible that Tyrael and Malthael go up here to this camp. And he gets caught. Okay. Thanks, Windows. That Tyrael Q. Did he get spotted already here, or was he in the bush? And then just throw his Q out? So Tyrael actually never got scouted by Garrosh here, and then he throws this Q, which gives away free information. Because Tyrael knew where Garrosh was, and they know where 3 people of Genji are, and Genji knows where nobody on the 1 is, and then Tyrael throws his Q out. And that's just throwing away free information. Hanzo gets his camp out for free. He does do it quickly enough that it is in the gap between the Tyrande going through and the vision running out, and then the next Tyrande cooldown, it's already done. So there's no risk there. It's just the risk that Malthael just decides he wants to also do this camp and ends up scouting him. Alright, this time Kyocha not dying. And again, you sit on your mount. He was really far up in this lane actually. When he walks up here to clear, he's a bit lucky. Unless Garrosh saw a Nubrak here, he's a little bit lucky that the one wasn't any closer to catch him here. He is a bit fortunate. Because, again, if you don't know where the enemy team is, they could be anywhere that you don't see. And until you force the enemy team to show, or use a vision ability to find them in a bush, you never will know. So you have to assume that they're in the worst possible position for you, wherever you're trying to rotate, or whatever minion wave you're trying to clear. Until you end up setting up for minion waves of pressure to their buildings that they need to go and soak and defend, or for merc camps to do the same thing, or an objective spawns that forces them to show up, you just can't take those risks. Or at least if you do take those risks, you know that it is a risk. Alright, so 13 advantage. Malthael is showing, so Genji knows they're very safe. Garrosh holding the front, Blaze holding this flank, and the one is not really trying to make any kind of a long flank, because Genji has no vision here. They could wrap around all the way here, if all of them go into fog, or they could wrap around all the way here and come around here, something like that. But they're kind of just sitting here in front of the Garrosh, in front of the Blaze that they've already scouted the positions of, and they're not trying to rotate to an angle that is less strong for Genji. Now we can see this. Blaze is here. Garrosh is here. Hanzo's here. Li Ming's all the way up here. And it's still not impossible for the one to flank. So this is pretty tight, where here's a wall, so there's nowhere to go here. Li Ming's here. And the big issue here, too, for the one, is that on each of these individual flanks, they're showing a hero, which means that every single hero, they're just 1-to-1, or 1-to-2, or maybe 1-to-3 in the worst case scenario. If every single hero from the one was missing, except this Anub, Li Ming would not be standing this far forward. She would have to sacrifice this flank and pull back. No, I didn't review Tempo Storm game yet. I'm just doing it in order, in the broadcast order. And you can see here, Tyrael actually did sneak around here. And that could have been 2 or 3 members of the one that sneak around here. Looks like Garrosh might have spotted him. But yeah, look, Tyrael's... No, now he's spotted. And now you can see Genji pull back. They're also far enough ahead in damage that they don't need to be so far forward. Now Li Ming's turn to start doing damage. Hanzo's super far back. And then this also makes Genji's flanks that they have to watch a lot smaller. Because then, instead of having to watch here, and then also through here, this whole area here, for Hanzo that's auto-attacking, when Li Ming's just throwing spells from here, all you have to watch is this here. And then maybe there's this flank that could happen, if the one is not showing. But again, I don't know what this Tehran 7 is. That's just a ridiculous waste of the cooldown again. But as long as the one's showing 3 or 4 heroes here, you're not worried about one hero flanking around you here. Especially if Anub is the one Anub showing here. You just don't... This flank is not scary. So all you need to do is have your tanks in the front. Just CC people that try and walk into them. Or walk past them. And then kite back and let your ranged DPS throw damage at them. And their Tehran is wasting her level 7 talent. She should have taken a different one if she's going to use it like that. Okay, they know Tehran is here. They know Malthael threw E over the wall here, because they saw it, and they saw a noob here. Alright. Genji just playing really patiently. It's just a couple Li Ming rotations. There's a Hanzo Vision Arrow. And the Immortal's gone. And the one, again, they're standing there with one hero watching a Blaze, one hero watching a Garrosh, a Nubarak watching a Li Ming, just sitting there and not trying to do anything. Because their comp is worse. Their team fight, if they just both teams smash into each other, Genji will win every time, because their tanks are way stronger, and their DPS are way stronger. So the one has to find some kind of a good engage. That isn't just them running into the front line of Genji, and they haven't even tried yet. Just don't watch tempo games, it's too late. Alright, there goes Tyrael. Tyrael has the double Q talent at 13, so he can do that without being too scared, but it's not like it's actual damage. One Deckard Potion blocks it all. And I mean, we can even see before this Hanzo engage happens, look at where Hanzo is here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's been this far back the entire time since the Immortal spawn. In this kind of position. So the Immortal spawns, and Hanzo is on his mount the entire time. He does not dismount for 20 seconds. 20 seconds straight. He's just sitting here because he's one of the engaged targets that he can get going on, and his ultimate is one of the biggest counter-engage tools that they have, and it's a lot more effective from a long range. So why put him here, auto-attacking a wall, where he's at risk, when he can be here? And I mean, you do sacrifice if a fight happens and the one is able to block the Hanzo arrow with one hero, then maybe you could be at risk, where you just don't have enough damage in the fight right away. But with a 2-level lead, a absolutely ridiculously huge Immortal, I'm not sure about the wormhole on Tyrael. So then he does find an angle where he can get the ult past. Again, an absolutely awful Tehran level 7. Alright, they're trying to go on Blaze. Blaze still has Bunker, so they don't even want to hard commit to him, and he doesn't even need to use it. And now the one is down Sanct, they're down Starfall, they're down Cocoon. So now suddenly their engage is not scary anymore. They have a random Tormented Souls that does nothing, and a Go for the Throat. So now Genji can walk up and auto-attack with their Hanzo. And they can just go in on this, Tyrande. Sure. And that's the game. So Tyrael itself isn't as good. Tyrael's decent. He's not top tier for sure. And you definitely, I want to go back to the draft here again because one thing I want to be looking at here is Medivh bans. So it's second ban phase by the one. Okay. And I believe the one just cannot play Medivh. They just aren't able to play it, so it's not going to be banned against them. Go to this draft. The one first ban phases it, and Wolf was talking a lot about how picking Sergeant Hammer into Kerrigan was super high risk, which doesn't make any sense because Sergeant Hammer is the lowest risk hero in the game because she has a sprint, an unstoppable 50 armor, and a knockback, and the longest range in the game of any hero. So I don't know why this is a risk into Kerrigan, when Kerrigan, as soon as Sergeant Hammer gets level 4, can't do anything to a Sergeant Hammer. She Qs in, she gets knocked back, she Qs in again, she combos, it gets armored. If anything weird happens, Sergeant Hammer sprints away still. So I don't know what he was talking about there. But as the draft develops, let's go back and just talk about that a little bit. So, it's a first pick Kerrigan. Kerrigan, if she is properly supported and is not possible to exploit her for her squishiness, she's going to control the shrine very well. It's going to be very hard to walk into the shrine and just smash your team 5v5 into her team, because she'll already be pretty tanky off of the skulls. It gives her a lot more mobility. No, I don't like either of those 13 talents. I don't think Fish Tank is good. I think the healing bubble is better. No, Rainer's just the best range DPS in the game right now. In general. On specific maps, Hanzo can be better, and other DPS can be better, but Rainer is just the tankiest, the longest, the safest, and just the most reliable. Where there's no counter pick to Rainer. You pick Rainer, he's always going to do the same amount of damage, he's always going to sit there and be pretty much unkillable. And that's great. And he has no skill shot reliance or anything, so his damage is always going to happen. Yeah, like, it's not even like Hammer's been a risky pick in this tournament at all. It's just that you have to last pick her so that you don't get counterpicked, which is what every team has done. Is pick last pick or second last pick the Hammer if they're from second pick, when the enemy team cannot pick Chromie anymore in their team comp. So, what Gen G is going, first of all, they just pick two really good heroes that work in any comp, and they wait to see what the one commits to. The one gets the Blaze and the Deckard. So the Blaze helps shore up Kerrigan's squishiness by giving her a bunker to hop into. They ban out a noob, and Tyrael ban. And then they go Arthas Malthael. So this is... So they could have gone a Rel or Dahaka, but they went Malthael. It is kind of weird seeing this, because the big thing, again, you don't want to just sit on the shrine 5v5 against Kerrigan, because you'll lose that most of the time. And the Malthael makes you very squishy against the Kerrigan, where he's just another target that gets one-shot by a Kerrigan combo with proper follow-up. But then the last pick Hammer, Gen G's comp at this point, they could maybe commit to trying to 5v5 on the shrine with a Tassadar or some other second support so that they don't get one-shot. But against the Jaina especially, it's pretty scary. Level 16, you take the auto attack talent, Sentient. Yeah, style points, yeah. I mean, the first game, the one just picked a bad comp and then sat there and did nothing. Stream, let's go. Alright, so then when they last picked Sergeant Hammer here, Gen G's plan is not to 5v5, just sit on the shrine and fight. And especially if they were having Sergeant Hammer as a last pick in mind, this Malthael pick makes even less sense, because he doesn't help peel for the Sergeant Hammer, and the other thing is, what the Sergeant Hammer wants to do is she wants to sit off of the shrine, if you can't control it, and then just take the skulls, steal the skulls from long range, and Malthael does not contribute to that either. So early on, the one has really strong early game. Kerrigan rotations is really insane. If the enemy team cannot survive her combo, which none of these heroes can, with a Jaina behind her. Jaina, Deckard, and Murden. So the one should be able to win rotations really easily. Genji does have the map packs to scout rotations, scout any ganks going to other lanes. But they should be able to instantly clear the wave. And for some reason, Blaze is top, which I don't know why he's top right now. Because what should be able to happen for the one is they run up to this wave, Jaina drops a Blizzard on it, Blaze drops a WQ on it, and the wave is dead. And Genji can't do that at all. If Malthael tries to walk into the wave while the one is clearing it, he will just get Kerrigan comboed in one shot. Change CC to death. Even through Tehran cleanse, there's too much CC, with Deckard root not being cleansable. So, I'm not sure why the one is starting in the side lanes when they have the stronger 5v5 and the stronger early game in the first place. They are going to get the fast clear in the lanes, but now Genji is ahead in the rotate. Kerrigan's stuck catching this wave. They did get the clear in the side lanes, and Malthael is playing safe in this rotate, but Blaze doesn't push in as fast as a Jaina, so Malthael isn't going to lose much soak. And the Trondal. Where's the Trondal, actually? Is it on cooldown? Okay, he throws it down mid. Okay. So when Genji throws this owl out, they know they're safe to just clear the wave. And they're wondering, why is the one not here just clearing the wave over us? Then they see Blaze top and Jaina bottom, so they know this is happening. They haven't scouted Murden until he stuns here. And at that point, Malthael could have rotated more aggressively, because he knows Kerrigan's stuck here, and the only person that hasn't shown yet is Deckard. But it doesn't matter, he lost one minion, and he would have lost that minion anyway. So now at least the one's going to get their 4v4 dominance in place, and Blaze is able to out-rotate the Malthael now, because he's catching. And as you can see, Genji is now going to just split in their lanes. Tron's going to keep on throwing out map packs to scout when camps are happening. She already threw out one just before the wave started being cleared. Jaina went for a really insane flank here. Hammer was just sitting here auto-attacking minion wave though. But 50 armor, by the way. And Murden jumped? Oh. Well, that's pretty insane. Even if this was a 2v2 and Tehran wasn't here, that doesn't work, and then you still just die to the Arthas. And he doesn't even call for help from his Deckard in time. Alright, so that's just a feed. And there goes the one's early game dominance. Kerrigan hasn't even finished this camp yet, and did Tehran owl this, or do they just expect that Kerrigan's on this, because there's nowhere else she could have been? Because if we know Kerrigan's rotation, she just cleared this wave, and then she disappeared, and she never showed bottom to gank the hammer. And if she was down here, she would have been helping trying to target the hammer, especially before hammer was level 4 unstoppable, where she's actually a bit more vulnerable. So, Murden dies for free. This camp gets invaded and stolen. If this was a 4v4, Sergeant Hammer would not be sieged up in this position, but it's not. It's a 4v3. And then Genji also got out this camp with their Raynor. And now they're just winning the early rotations. Alright. Oh, I remember this. This was interesting. So, Raynor shoots Murden right after this Q. That's when you see the Raynor Q, you know as Murden, he can't stop your jump anymore. He can't stop you from engaging on him. And Raynor is a little bit far up. And you do have 4 heroes here. So then he jumps, but then he decides, alright, I'm gonna jump, and I'm just gonna not stun, and then he stuns. And then I'm watching this and I'm just wondering, okay. So that's how Chinese teams go for engages, I guess. That's a really good engage there, Murden. Even baited in his own Kerrigan player, thinking that he was going to stun. And then, at the end of the day, Deckard has to... I don't know. Either Deckard dies or Murden dies here, most likely. And, might have even been both that die here. Malthael's down here. Alrighty then. Sure. Let's start fast forwarding now. This is looking like the group stages. Again, I said earlier, I don't know how this team won in any games in the group stage, other than against the teams that were free wins, which I guess you kind of count leftovers in that. But here we are. There's a nice CC on Raynor. Kerrigan is very slow to follow up on that, because this is... Deckard's root is 1.75 seconds. It's the longest basic ability CC in the game, not counting stasises. And Jane is following up on this, but Kerrigan is for some reason flinching on this engage. Do they know where the enemy team is or anything? So like here, this camp just got captured, and then they see a Tyrande come from top lane. Oh no, they don't see it. And then they don't know where Hammer is, and Malthael's top. So I mean, they know that this is at least, at worst, a 4v4. Maybe they're scared that that Tyrande's there or something. I don't know. Alright, good job. The one you managed to catch a Raynor that was auto-attacking Minuwave and very overextended. I don't know, why does he walk up this far? What's the reasoning for this? I'm not sure what the reason for this is. And I think he could also have avoided this Deckard triangle. He walks exactly to the point of the triangle. If he walks this direction, he gets out of it, out of the route. And that's something you need to be aware of with Deckard, is that you need to walk at an angle, this kind of an angle, out of the triangle. Either into the Deckard or at a... what is that, 60 degrees? He wanted the globe. Fucking globes, man. Actually just getting people killed. Good thing Deckard can heal through all of Arthas' damage. Jaina's health bar just not moving. Looks like a misclick. Okay. Sure. Sure. So that does actually give the chance for the one to come back in this game now, because they were ahead. They were ahead. Before this happened, Genji's ahead an entire level. They have a ton of camps out, or they have this camp out in the lane, which is the strongest camp for this shrine spawn. So either this camp's going to get a ton of value, or Genji's going to get ahead on the shrine. And in addition to that, they're also ahead on the rotations here, because they already pushed the wave in bottom, and the one had to catch it down here. So then, as soon as Raynor gets caught, suddenly, oh, these heroes on the shrine are going to have to get off of it soon. And then Arthas also greedy rotates. Where's the Tron map hacks? Where's the owl? Is it on cooldown right now? No? No, that is full 18-second cooldown of the owl, so it just does not get thrown out. They even see Murden here. They see Murden running here, and they might even see these two heroes here too. And Arthas still rotates this way, while he's at half HP with only a tap running. And Tyrande isn't even there to escort him. So now Arthas dies for free. Genji playing very disrespectful here. Oh, he doesn't die, never mind, he got cleansed. Oh yeah, I remember this. This was just Clown Fiesta. That was a good interrupt on the Kerrigan jump. But nice double combo though. Raynor maybe could have sidestepped that, I'm not sure. Ah, that was pretty good. The Kerrigan E is a lot wider at the furthest range, so it's a lot harder to sidestep out of. But they killed the Arthas, but now they're 5-man stacked for a Malthael. And also there's a Sergeant Hammer sitting here auto-attacking for free. Because the big thing, they used all their cooldowns here. Jaina Blizzard is still on cooldown, but yeah, the Kerrigan combo, Deckard combo, Murden stun is right there. All of the Jaina cooldowns except Blizzard, which is going to come up soon. And there's the Blizzard, and now there's literally 0 cooldowns for Malthael to get hit with. So their DPS without cooldowns is Kerrigan auto-attacks in Q, and Jaina Qs. And then Murden auto-attacks before level 7 are pretty weak. So Malthael actually just out-sustained through everything. One thing I don't like here too much is right here he uses E, because he already had the mark on them for a decent duration, and when you want to use your E is when the duration is running out to keep your Q active. But here, he could have waited a little bit longer on that E. Well, that's a small optimization. That's a nice dodge. Is that even a reaction to the Murden stun, or is that just him trying to get Tyrande here? Twitch player does not like getting paused and unpaused and rewound repeatedly. And you can see, he's healing for a 1/5 of his total health pool. No, he W's way before the Murden stun. He maybe W'd thinking that the Murden auto-attack was the stun, because the animations actually looked identical right there. but that was just Wing to get to his Tyrande to get healed. But then the Murden stun misses. Jaina, she's low on mana. She has no cooldowns. They actually barely kill him with the next Kerrigan combo that comes up. But at this point, nice boop on the Blaze Charge. Tron's just going to 1v1 Kerrigan here, even though the Kerrigan has potions. I mean, you could think, why is Genji trolling on the BlizzCon main stage? Because all you see, you see a very small percentage of the total matches that these teams play, because a lot of Genji's scrim blocks also play out like this, where they just randomly get a level lead in the early game for no reason, and then they have to throw away the lead to get an even match to get some good practice in. And then it can turn into bad habits too, where you do start doing that in matches and losing games because of it. But yeah, they're not respecting the enemy team. That Arthas rotation was especially insane when you saw the enemy team was mid on your minion wave, running up right next to you. But in the end, Genji outplayed the fight. And they're back to their full level lead. And they have an Arcane Punisher. And the one is not even in position to defend it. There's nobody here that can pull this. So this wall is dead before the one jump it over, which means that this is a full health Punisher instead of a half health Punisher when the wall goes down. And that's a big difference. Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair. And it's very unfortunate that teams in general are so weak that even quarterfinals of BlizzCon are wastes of time to watch. Okay. So the one was trying to trade push here. They kind of went on Malthael. What happened here? Did they just miss all their CC? Looks like Malthael's actually kind of caught here. But I guess the Murden stun missed, and then the Kerrigan combo does hit there. But then Genji says, nobody's here to defend this Punisher. Hammer's safe, 1v0. So this kills the fort no matter what, and they go to collapse on this aggression from the one, because they were tanking towers. Was last year's BlizzCon more stacked with talent versus this year? Not really. It was, what was last year's BlizzCon? Let's take a look at it. So the playoffs had 3 NA teams, 3 European teams, and 2 Korean teams. So maybe slightly more stacked. I think overall, yeah, any 8 of these teams relatively is stronger than the one. And you could even say the same thing for Tempo Storm with how their performance went today. And now the one is running through, what is this? So the one went for a gank here and tried to trade push. I don't even know if they got this wall at this point. And then they even get map hacked on their rotation. So Genji knows this rotation is happening with the Tyrande Owl. It's a decent juke on the Kerrigan combo. But even if that combo hit, like even here, even if he does run up and the Kerrigan combo hits, there's no follow-up because the one's entire backline is getting destroyed by Arthas Raynor here. And if there's no focus, Jaina by herself cannot one-shot the Arthas. If the Arthas goes to 1v1 the Jaina, she will lose. But if the Jaina 4v1s the Arthas, he will die instantly. And that's just not happening. Where what the one needed to do when this fight started here is right here, Kerrigan can be saying, okay, I want to go on the hammer, but she's sprinting and she's armored. And her backline should be calling, oh, there's an Arthas and a Raynor here. Like, they should... Because Kerrigan's tunneled here. Very clearly, Kerrigan is tunnel visioning on the hammer, who is down a lot of important cooldowns. She used her knockback already, she used her armor already, and now she's in sprint. And as soon as that's down, that's a pretty easy target to go on, if your team can follow up. But her team needed to call that there's other heroes here that they need to deal with instead. Because if Kerrigan pulls back here and goes on the Arthas, they can maybe one-shot Arthas here, if they hit all the CC. But instead, they actually kill Tyrande. Alright. So Arthur goes to 1v1 Jaina, but then that lets Murden and Kerrigan get in on the Tyrande, and even without combo they manage to kill her. Alright. That's actually pretty good. And then they get the combo down, and that kills off Hammer. That's pretty good. And Malthael's not here the whole time. Where's Malthael? Malthael went to soak bottom. That's kind of surprising too. Because this Owl, this sees Kerrigan for sure, and it sees Deckard healing the Kerrigan, and it sees them run up. Because you have the Owl vision across an area, and then you see when the heroes leave the vision which direction they were going. So Kerrigan ran up out of the vision, and Murden ran through the vision up as well. So I feel like Gen G should expect, especially like right here, I think they might see each other. Maybe they're just expecting the one to go up here and defend, but then at the same time, why is Gen G not just leaving to push another lane? It's weird. Yeah, I'm just going to focus on the analysis for the games for now, and then I'll go into that if we have time afterwards. So it's kind of weird that Gen G opts into this fight when they know the rotation is happening, and especially when their Malthael isn't even there, and the Blaze has the rotate way ahead of the Malthael, because Malthael had to deal with his camp. And with the Blaze peeling for the Jaina with the slow field, she's safe. Which means that the Arthas wasn't able to peel for his backline, and ended up not getting value. But now Malthael shows up, and that should be... Okay, they actually managed to get out too. Alright. I mean, Gen G opted into this. Again, pretty much just being... just disrespecting the one. Their Arcane Punisher got ridiculous amounts of value. NA does not understand Samuro. I think, well, on Octalysis we understood the hero. Because I think that's where Tempo got the pick from, is we ran it against them. Because it was in playoffs that we ran Samuro against Team Freedom. The issue is just, there's a lot of issues. But Bladestorm is the other Samuro ultimate, instead of Illusion Master. Alright, so Gen G's still a level and a half ahead. They're taking a bunch of camps. Sergeant Hammer is actually just troll sieging mid. That's an insanely risky position. They do know Blaze is top. They saw him from right here. Let's see, where's the earlier Tyrande? So there's Tyrande. That got blocked by Kerrigan. And then the next Tyrande went there. Alright, sure. Alright, Kerrigan barely lives. Jaina goes in for a flank. There's a Haymaker. Alright. Well, that's a mess. So Gen G's looking for a pick-off on whoever clears the siege camp, which is Kerrigan. But at the same time that they're doing it, again, their Malthael is rotating to the off lane, and is not going to be there for the fight. At the same time as the enemy team's off laner. So they get a lot of damage on Kerrigan. Good. Jaina shows up for a flank. They kite back. Alright. They heal through a lot. Murden shows up and haymakers people. A bit spookier. And now your Rainer's here, and he's probably guaranteed to die at this point. I don't know where Kerrigan went. She's down here for some reason. But Kerrigan could have easily just one-shot him here. Your Jaina's most likely going to die to the Sergeant Hammer, and yeah, she does, because she just ran up and flanked, and now Sergeant Hammer's going to auto-attack her to death. Jaina's cooldowns are all down. She's not Icy Veins, otherwise she might be able to fight the Hammer still. But you do have these two guys on the rest of Gen G's backline. But then Tron gets her level 7 talent, and this is good use of Tron's level 7 talent, where you have a Rainer, face tanking a tower, and then you just sit there and start auto-attacking. And then your Rainer lives, your Tron lives. Now Kerrigan goes in. What was Kerrigan doing this entire time? Does she not have tap? Or any... what the... Alright then. So Kerrigan ints. Malthael does show up at a decent time, but still pretty late. But, yeah. Alright. I'm having trouble analyzing this because everything just seems to be happening at random without very much planning. Genji is just deciding to team fight without really needing a reason. But they win the team fight. Tyrande uses her level 7 talent properly, which is insanely strong when you actually use it on heroes that aren't full HP. Turns out you need to use your healing abilities on heroes that aren't already full HP, and then they're more effective. So here's Sergeant Hammer. There's nothing you can do about this, because none of your heroes can do anything. Your Jaina can shoot Qs. That's basically it, but as soon as Tyrande shows up, she's just going to heal through it. Alright, you tried to press some buttons, you used the heal reduction on Deckard, and she sprinted away. And that's a low cooldown sprint, because she's level 13. Alright, and she runs back and taps. Sprint is on a 10-second cooldown, or a 20-second cooldown by now, so she needs 3 auto attacks on heroes to get sprint back off cooldown. Alright, there's Muradin. That Haymaker knockback looks really weird. That actually seems really buggy. What is this? You see that? So it should knock them away, like this direction, away from the hero getting knocked in the line, but instead it pulls her in. I don't know if that's a bug. Nobody actually takes Haymaker in competitive. So, it doesn't matter though. Sergeant Hammer pressed E. And that's it. They do get a decent... What happens here to Raynor? They just get a... Really? Can he not dodge that triangle there? Oh, he's in the Blaze Oil. So Raynor's super slowed and gets pushed in. Good thing Tyrande is a level 7 talent. And he has his E. And his team's tanking the fort with ghouls. Alright, sure. So that team fight's over. This fort's dead. They're slow sieging mid. Malthael's doing the Shrine solo. Speed this up a bit. This should be a keep down with a 3-level lead. How'd Malthael get here? He got Haymakered? Oh. Alright, so he just doesn't respect... Not sure where his unstoppable cooldown is, because he could just press that so that he doesn't have this happen. Oh, there it is. It was up. He just didn't use it. But there's the Tyrande level 7. Again, it's a really good talent. You just need to use it on people that aren't full HP. Yeah, bad players pick Haymaker, because if you pick Haymaker on Muradin in competitive, you will just get focused and you will just die, because you're very squishy without Avatar. Alright. Sure. 3-level lead. Genji has the map hack, so it's pretty much impossible for the one to surprise them with a team fight. If a team fight happens, Genji already knew that the one was coming and opted into it, even if it wasn't the correct decision or the best possible decision. They're just going to sit here and slow siege with the Sergeant Hammer as 5. Oh, here's stuff happening. Where's Sergeant Hammer Unstoppable? Did it get used early? Or is she holding it a really long time? Oh yeah, there it is. She doesn't knock back the Blaze charge. And Tyrande doesn't get the cleanse off, but... Malthael's 1v1 in a Kerrigan with 3-level lead. And I mean, 3-level leads are very, very ridiculous. Noblesse is a bad player? What, you mean because he didn't unstoppable that one time? Or which one is Noblesse? Is he the drafter? Their coach / analyst? Yeah, I don't think against a good team they would pick Malthael here, especially when they're planning to last pick Sergeant Hammer. I think they would have gone... Yeah, he's the coach. Okay. Did they get a Haymaker kill once this game? They would have gotten a Haymaker kill bottom when they Haymakered the Raynor in, but their Kerrigan was randomly down here instead of under the fort or tapping or getting healed by Deckard. So if Kerrigan wasn't AFK and did literally nothing that fight except int, then yes, they would have gotten one Haymaker kill. But Genji is also just playing really over-aggressive and just disrespecting the one. Against the team that they actually respect and are tryharding against, they wouldn't be giving any opportunities for Haymaker to even be used successfully. So, let's see if I can refresh right now to get the video preview up. That would be nice. Yes, good. Alright, that makes it a lot easier to find actual matches. So the one nice thing about best of threes, the one upside is that when teams like the one do manage to get out of group stage, at least they are put down quickly. and we don't have to go through an entire best of 5 watching this team get stomped. Because that's really boring. Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody was really having fun in that match. It was just Gen G trolling for the 100th match, 1000th match against a team that they're way better than. All right. Alright, Abathur banned. Heroes Hearth also played the solo support Abathur on this map with Zeratul and Illidan, I believe. But Maev's up, so they just go for Maev first pick. Yeah, Giant Killer's just better. Because you're not proccing slows when you're just slow sieging and poking. So Giant Killer is always active, even if you're just auto-attacking from long range, without your team being there, supporting that in the fight. Alright, so Heroes Hearth gets first pick Maev, and then Team Liquid gets offlaner priority plus tank priority, and then Heroes Hearth gets a noob. So this is a noob instead of Diablo, which is a bit surprising, especially because Diablo Tyrande is really, really strong. I guess they're just prioritizing the Cocoon, because they know that especially with Maev, against these tanks especially, Maev against these two tanks, she cannot isolate them with her tether, or with cage or anything, because they both have ways to just become immune to it. Garrosh can unstoppable it, he can also ally throw teammates out, and Blaze can bunker it, and he can take the level 1 quest talent to get unstoppable. So Anubarak is a lot better at the plan of diving the backline, and then controlling the tanks with Cocoon, than Diablo. So it makes sense why they would pick that. Team Liquid doesn't need to ban Diablo anymore. They just want to ban offlane or ranged. So offlane would be Dahaka or Rel. Ranged would be Jaina. Yeah. The other nice thing about Giant Killer is it goes through armor. And every hero in the meta right now has armor. And there's a Malf ban. So Malf, that's Malf and Deckard both gone. So at this point, good supports left are Whitemane, and then after that you're going down to like tier 3 supports. There's a Li Ming and a Raynor. So they banned Jaina and they picked Li Ming and Raynor, so they're really cutting the range pool for Heroes Hearth. And they're holding support for last pick, because maybe Heroes Hearth picks something weird, and you could pick a last pick Uther or Rhaegar, and that would be okay. But if Heroes Hearth just picks a normal offlane and normal ranged, then you're just going to pick Whitemane. Alright, so there's a Dahaka. Heroes Hearth has the global advantage. That has been a big deal in previous matches on this map, where you can get a really big, or a decently large early game advantage just by threatening to use the global or using the global. Because in the early game, before Blaze gets strong enough wave clear to instantly clear the wave, Dahaka will just be able to be at a fight way before Blaze is. Or Blaze will have to sacrifice a lot of soak to be able to be at the fight at the same time as Dahaka. Alright, so we got Whitemane. She does have Cleanse. She does have the AoE armor. So, Heroes Hearth has to execute some kind of a dive on the backline to win teamfights. Again, you just cannot kill these frontliners with their team comp. Hanzo is not very good at focusing tanks down unless they're CC'd very heavily, just because his W is very unreliable damage. Unless they're right next to a wall, you're just not going to be getting full W damage on them. And at that point, his single target is not amazing. Team Liquid, they just want to play, not really poke, but kind of poke, where they just sit in front, wait for Garrosh to find someone to CC, throw some spells off of it, maybe he throws them in and they one-shot them. Hanzo ult does also help out with the dive if he can find an angle to get past the front line. Yeah, Samuro is pretty much exclusively a cheese pick for split push. He's just worse in team fights than most other heroes. Like, if you're a Samuro, you come out of stealth and jump on a Rainer, he auto-attacks you, Qs you back, auto-attacks you a couple more times, and then you have to go to your illusion, and you did a few hundred damage, and lost half your health. There's not really a better ranged pick. The only other ranged DPS you could even pick is Phoenix. And the issue with Phoenix is that his ult is countered by Whitemane and Blaze, and he's also a lot more vulnerable to Garrosh. And the Hanzo pick is better because their comp is already committed to diving backline and not killing the front line. In most situations, the Hanzo pick is definitely better because his ultimate is a lot more reliable and a lot more impactful than a Phoenix ult. And even just Phoenix against most of these heroes, he's not a great matchup. Phoenix has a lot of trouble against all these heroes, where if he walks up, he could get rooted by Whitemane 13. Raynor just outranges him and can knock him away. If Phoenix tries to trade with him, Li Ming, it's harder for him to dodge the skill shots from her. And Wave of Force also messes with him. Garrosh, he cannot walk in range to hit the Garrosh without Garrosh also being able to Q him and turn on him. And Blaze, he can't get out of Blaze Oil easily, and he can't deal with Blaze's charge. Greymane the pick? No. Greymane is not a great DPS hero for team fights. Greymane has to go into melee to be able to do damage effectively, and if you're going into melee into a Garrosh and a Blaze, you're just going to die instantly. There's no way to keep you alive. He's like a worse version of Kerrigan almost, you could say. Only reason to pick Greymane is to do PvE, do mercenary camps, push walls. What's that hammer? What is that? Neat. Yeah, so Heroes Hearth has a big advantage in the early game with their global and with Maiev, where she's able to clear mid and then roam, and either threaten the off lane, threaten camps, maybe do the top lane camp with the level 1 talent. Looks like Heroes Hearth is just going to give up the mid wave early. It is a bit scary in a 5v5 for Maiev. In a 4v4, it's a bit safer, but if you know that Blaze is here, which they already scouted with the Hanzo vision, Maiev just clears the side lane instantly. The Haka playing safe. He probably could have played a bit more aggro because the Owl scouts Team Liquid's rotation. But maybe he wants to have a minion wave freeze or something like that. I'm not totally sure of the details of when you want to freeze and when you want to push the lane, because the timings are actually pretty specific on a map like Towers of Doom, when the timings are all based around the camps. When what you would want to have, a situation you would want to have as Dahaka, is either Blaze is stuck here, catching a wave at his wall, while you dig in 5v4, or if Blaze roams, you would want him to be losing as much soak as possible. And I'm not totally sure what the best possible way to play the lane is to set that up. Alright. There's Maiev just clearing a wave instantly, being unpunishable. And Heroes Hearth is going to their own camp first. Anoob's been catching this soak, so they're getting a bit of a soak advantage, and they see Team Liquid on this camp. So it looks like they do know Blaze is top, but Dahak is catching soak, but they're not opting into this fight. Which, I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's kind of hard to say. The big thing is just that Anub'arak, if you don't dive in on one of the backliners and actually one-shot them, Anoob's going to be a very squishy target into Raynor and Li Ming. So your front line will just end up dying a lot more quickly than Team Liquid's front line, and even their back line will be decently tanky. Li Ming can evade a lot of CC, Raynor's got his E, and Whitemane has a lot of healing, just in general. So, they're not getting any advantage of their global yet. But we'll see. Blaze is mid soaking now, and Maev's here soaking as well. Anub's even watching for the Maev, so she knows that she can clear aggressively. They spotted the Garrosh. So what this means is now Blaze has a choice. Either he goes bottom lane with his team on the camp, but it looks like his team's going to be able to clear this camp out by themselves. And Dahaka is freezing. So yeah, Dahaka set up a freeze here. When Blaze, because Blaze had to push in the wave at 1 minute so that he could rotate mid. Partly because if his team got invaded on, partly because his team needs to have 4 heroes down here to clear out Heroes Hearth's camp effectively. And it's very difficult for a Raynor to even get to mid, and then even potentially rotate back down. So they do get a small experience advantage, maybe half a wave, maybe a full minion wave worth of experience here. Though Maev was actually really slow to clear this lane, which is surprising. Or does she already clear it and then just not rotate? This is strange, because I feel like Heroes Hearth should not allow this camp to go in either, because they have they should have the 4 heroes down here with Maev, and the dig being threatened if Team Liquid pushes up. Maybe they're just assuming that Team Liquid won't push up, but Maev is showing mid, and Team Liquid pushes up when they see the Maev, because they know that at worst it's a 4v4. Okay, so one of the sappers gets in, so it's not insane. And Heroes Hearth does get quite a bit of experience mid off of that. Li Ming was cut off on a rotate. So okay. Heroes Hearth had used a lot of CC to stop the sappers from going in immediately. But this is one thing Heroes Hearth is really good at, is they're really good at the... It's not like micro in team fights, but it's micro in terms of getting experience advantage, small edges in their rotations and in the minion waves. Where Dahaka had a small freeze here that got a decent experience lead, and now Blaze might even be losing experience here still because he's not sure where Maev is. And then they sacrificed... They had the only 3-man down here, with Maev fast clearing mid for the next wave, because if Team Liquid 4-man committed, they were still confident they could clear as 3-man, and then Team Liquid wouldn't be able to soak mid, because Blaze, if he goes mid, again this freeze is still happening, so he loses a lot of soak. So now what I would like to see from Heroes Hearth, they do have 2 map hack abilities with Tyrande and Hanzo E. They should be able to force this top camp with their Maev, though the shrine timing is, or the cap timing is a bit early, maybe, would not, yeah. Maev's level 1 talent should be down, so they probably don't have the time to do that. But she just went top and she just hit a wall for a little bit, and that got half a tower probably. Okay, do they know Rainer's mid right now? Yeah, so they know Rainer's mid. He even dismounted to finish auto-attacking his minion waves, and they saw that. So now Tron's rotating safe way around. Hanzo has decent stalls from really long range, and Tron can owl stall as well. So the Haka got the cap here, and Maev pressured the Blaze. And the big thing is, if Team Liquid just lets the Maev 1v1 here, well, first of all, they don't know that it's just a 1v1, because if Dahaka's capping here, they know Hanzo's bottom. They might have seen a noob here. They don't know where Tyrande is. If Tyrande shows up here, and they don't have Rainer here, and he's already down here, then suddenly Blaze gets pushed off the cap, and they might even lose this cap. Especially with the Haka being able to also dig in. They would lose this cap in that situation. Because if Blaze wants to stall this cap effectively, he has to go behind one of these 2 forts to stall over a wall. And if he's trying to cap it, and then gets pushed away here, then he's just going to get fully zoned off. So they have to make this concession where they have a hero in the mid lane in between both caps, and then when they see this, they still don't know where Tyrande is, so they have to respond to it. And then when that happens, what that means is that Maev is now tied down 2 heroes, and Dahaka immediately digs on this. And this was really nice when I saw it, where they really punish that Team Liquid does not have the way to really efficiently respond to this. What Team Liquid has to do, basically, is trying to cap this while your Rainer is up here is too risky, because you don't know where Heroes Hearth has committed their heroes yet. So, here is basically Maev 1v2 stalling 2 heroes out, and this is a 4v3, and then Whitemane gets caught out because she's trying to cap. And there's no Garrosh ally throw, which would be able to save her in this situation. Now Garrosh is getting gone on as well. I don't think Dahaka even used his tongue initially on Whitemane. Yep. Only in a noob Q and a Tron stun, and then a noob burrow, and then Dahaka just has his tongue still. So that's really nice by Heroes Hearth. Yeah, no get out of jail free card there for Whitemane. And yeah, this play would just not work against the level 7 Garrosh, because he just ally throws Whitemane out over a wall or somewhere. And then there's no more engage on her. Now they're ahead on this camp. The only problem for Heroes Hearth, they can't invade this because the Dahaka dig is down. They do have level 7 advantage. Okay. Owl's back off cooldown now, and Anoob's just going to sit here and scout. Maev can fast clear this over the Raynor. They see Garrosh, Maev clears this for sure. And then they can try and 4-man push this camp in, maybe. The Haka even has the push in over Blaze, so Blaze is stuck top for a while. So there, it's a full camp in, and Team Liquid never got a chance to do their camp, and this is a full level lead already. Am I going to waste my time? I'm going to go through it much more quickly than this match, for sure. Alright, that was... What was he trying to do here? I guess he was trying to bait the Garrosh throw, because he shielded right here. Right before he gets thrown, he actually uses his W for the shield. So he knows he's going to get thrown here, and he chooses to do this. This isn't a misplay in terms of him just accidentally walking into Garrosh. But what I'm trying to figure out is why he does this, because it actually uses a lot of his mana, having to use shield and then burrow. They get the tower. I guess that was the objective, was just to get that tower. And at the same time, Maev rotates Raynor from mid. That's expected. Just Maev's going to clear the wave over you, especially when a noob is the one controlling this area here between mid and bottom because of the level lead. Yeah, he did it on purpose. It just for the tower. That's fine. And then he backed for mana before the objective was up. So, alright then. And there was that owl. What was that owl actually for? I guess it was just looking for Garrosh. It does scout this bush in addition to the mid. So, okay, they find Garrosh. Anubrak finished his back. And I think Team Liquid even could have... Because right here, they know a noob can't fight. A noob has no mana. Maybe a noob could tap if they get scouted in their camp, and they have Raynor top, so they can't really do the camp, even though they know the Anub is backing, or should be backing. If Raynor was down here and Team Liquid was as 4, they probably would have done the camp right then. So there's another owl. This time Team Liquid is doing the camp. Blaze is down here now, and Haka is getting a soak advantage. And the big issue for Liquid is that because Hero's Hearth is ahead almost a full level at this point... That owl is kind of weird. What is this owl going for? I guess they're not sure if Team Liquid was on boss or looking for the Haka top. But they see the camp get capped, so they know Team Liquid's around here with most of their heroes. And they know there's nobody on the boss or something. Do I like the Zagara Love Beatable Anubrak meme? Sure. I mean, it's a skin. He can one-shot people.
What does he?
I mean, you're 3 levels ahead right now. And you're against a Brightwing instead of a good support. Not even sure where the Brightwing poly is. Okay. I mean, you're 3 levels ahead still. What is their Jaina even doing there? Why is Jaina... What is this Jaina doing? She walks up and auto-attacks a Samuro? Why is she not grouped with her team? Alright, back to the real game. So Hero's Hearth wants to stall this. They have pretty good stall with their heroes. Maev can push in Blaze, and if Blaze ever goes top, Hero's Hearth will 5v4 this and take the cap. So Team Liquid can't soak top unless they're accepting losing this cap, which they might have to at this point. And Dahak is even cutting off the Blaze, so a lot of this soak is still getting missed. Maev came down here, cleared this camp. She's going to go back to a mid-wave. Oh no, Dahak is double soaking. Alright. Tempo disrespecting competitive play with drafts. You could interpret it that way. I think it is very disappointing that even after the group stage that is supposed to weed out the weaker teams, you still come to BlizzCon main stage, the playoffs of the tournament, and you still see basically troll drafts like that aren't even being executed well. Or like that's a draft you would expect to have seen between Leftovers and Luna Meow. Not totally sure about these owl angles, if it's better to just owl the enemy grouped up here. Because when this owl's thrown, I want to actually see. When this owl's thrown, they see Garrosh. They should know Rainer's here, so the only hero that's missing is Li Ming and Whitemane, and I guess the owl gets thrown at the exact same time that Li Ming shows. Alright. So, Team Liquid does send Blaze top. They do end up sacrificing this cap. So now they're going to have level 10 advantage. Their camp should be spawning very soon, and this top camp is still available as well. So they've got a decent window to do something with the advantage. Are they looking for mid push here? Yes. Alright, so they're just going to dump some beetles on the mid wall. They saw 2 heroes clearing bottom, maybe 1. They saw Garrosh down here cut off. And again, they're level 10, so they can just do this. They have the Dahaka dig. They know, at the very worst, this is a 5v5 where they are down a few cooldowns that are used on the wall, and they're up level 10. So they should still be advantaged in it. And because it's mid lane, where the wave comes in first, they know that if Team Liquid were to push down here, they would be able to collapse on it, and Team Liquid would not be safe doing that, especially Blaze showing top. So they are sacking this soak, but they're trading this soak for a lot of wall damage here. Which, especially in a situation where what might happen later in the game is Blaze is stuck double soaking while his team is as a 4-man on one of these caps here. Without this wall, the wave walks up much further and does a lot more damage. And then Blaze loses a lot more soak if he has to rotate all the way into the fort instead of coming right to the wall where it's already getting cleared. And the other thing too, when you take out one of the towers in a wall, the other one dies a lot more quickly because it has half the DPS at that point. So one minion wave by itself probably kills the tower from 100 to 0 if it's not dealt with by heroes. So that's what they used with their level 10. Didn't go dark during pause. It's not very much darker. There's a Banshee getting some scouting value. Scouts the Maiev. Unfortunately, Garrosh was not really... If Garrosh was hugging this wall right here, right at this angle, the owl would have still spotted him. But if there's no owl, you could actually catch somebody. Like this Maiev. He rotates like this. So, Hero's Hearth, they were on the camp. That let Team Liquid get a 4-man clear on mid, which Maiev is now catching. And Blaze is also left top, and they just scouted the Blaze with the owl. So they know Team Liquid is as 5 here. And they know that their Dahak is getting an advantage. Their Maiev might clear the next mid wave and get an advantage there. Maybe even if they buy enough time, they can do the top camp. And Team Liquid just does not have those options available to them because they're behind on experience, so they do have to be trying to make something happen. You can only sacrifice shots for so long before the enemy team is either at a very massive shot advantage or at a very massive experience advantage if you get stalled out for too long. But Hero's Hearth has the map hacks. So yeah, there's another owl. Make sure the Hawk is safe here on this camp. They know there's nobody from Team Liquid here. And then here come super long range stalls that even a Garrosh can't deal with effectively. So there was a Hanzo E, now there's a Tyrande Owl. Now Maiev shows up from above. Ease away. And with that Maiev stall, now the Tyrande Owl and Hanzo E are back off cooldown. And that bought enough time for Dahaka to solo its camp and push it in. And they're even getting poked out by the Hanzo. Garrosh had to... Because the thing is, if they want to stop Hanzo from stalling this with a W or a Q, or a Nubrak from stalling this with a Q, Garrosh has to be very far forward. And the rest of his team cannot be as far forward as him, because if Whitemane is up here, suddenly there's a Dahaka dig that comes in, and one of these two guys gets cocooned, and suddenly she might die. So he's not... Whitemane is not able to go into heal range of the Garrosh, which means that the entire time he's eating a lot of damage that isn't getting healed. And at the end of it, it looks like Team Liquid just give up. What is Team Liquid's plan here? Because they committed as 5, but then their zone... I mean, they zoned the abilities that weren't just impossible to zone. But then they didn't zone this Maiev out. And that was the issue. And then it looks like as soon as the Maiev came in from a flank that they weren't zoning on and got that stall, they gave up on it because they know that they're going to get stalled for another 20 to 30 seconds from just owls and E's from Hanzo. Alright, and now Hero's Hearth knows that Team Liquid is split with their Garrosh. They could look for an engage on this backline here, because Garrosh is half HP, and he's split. Crowan is... what's Crowan doing here? Alright, that looked very scary for a little bit. Lucky that Li-Ming doesn't have Wave of Force, because he would have been dead there. Alright, the Hawk is still getting a ton of value. Again, Garrosh, if he wants to walk up to zone, he has to walk back to here to get healed. And then maybe Blaze can step up to zone, but his zone is a lot weaker than a Garrosh's. Alright, but they do get a walk up to the Anubrak and kill him. Because you look at the map right now, there's Anub's Q down. So he has no stalling abilities. He's not stalling with his E, and there's no way a Beetle somehow goes past any of this stuff to stall. So at this point, he can go AFK. And the Hawk is getting a ton of value. He got the camp in top, which killed the entire wall and the well, I think. And now there's a full 10 minions or more hitting the fort. And Team Liquid is not soaking them. And Hero's Hearth is getting very close to 13. But then he gets caught by a Garrosh Q. And then even after the Garrosh Q, he could still burrow out. But then he doesn't do that either, and then he gets taunted, and I'm not sure where the Tyrande heals are either, to be honest, because Tyrande could have cleansed either Garrosh Q slow or even the taunt. I guess they were just on cooldown. So then he ends up dying, and now suddenly this is gone. And now suddenly Hero's Hearth's grip, where Team Liquid couldn't do anything except hope that Garrosh walks into somebody, they got that when they were just getting completely destroyed in the macro game around the map. Now that frees up that they can do this camp while Blaze goes to soak the other lanes. Because there's no threat of engage with Anub dead. This is a nice setup on the... So when does Maiev get here? So she eat over the wall, she was looking for stall and Garrosh zoned her, and then she actually sacks this wave. Or is the wave already cleared? Does she clear it? Oh no, the Hawk cleared this wave. So the wave's already cleared for Hero's Hearth, so she's actually really free to rotate wherever she wants. So she's sitting in this bush for quite a while, but they know Blaze will come top because Blaze has to soak the lane and Blaze has to defend the fort. And then it is a blind, or not blind isolation, but if this was a 1v1, this would be blind. But because Maiev was here, she spotted the Blaze walking through here, which meant that McIntyre had the perfect timing. From Fog, the isolation, 3-second silence, no bunker during that. And then Tongue right as the silence duration ends. Really nice kill. Alright, that's Garrosh unstoppable down, and he's eating a ton of damage. And with his unstoppable down, he's a bit more of a target. Hero's Hearth still does not have anywhere near the damage to kill a Garrosh, even if he does start at 1/3 HP. Unless the white man is controlled. But they got the clear on the camp, they still have their 1 level advantage, they still have a decent shot advantage, even though they did lose out on those shots that they probably shouldn't have. That and Noob 13 instead of the auto attack one, it's better burst damage. That's pretty much it. And it gives you wave clear. But between that and the Burning Rage, it's just better burst damage. And it might be better DPS overall, I'm not sure. Would have to look at the scaling stats. So there's just constantly owls going across here. So as long as there's owls being spammed here, anyone in mid or top for Hero's Hearth knows they're safe. And then as long as there's owls being spammed here, people in Hero's Hearth on bottom lane know that they're not quite safe. So Anub is scouting here, Hanzo just W's this push down here, because why not? It costs 20 mana. It's a 3-second cooldown. So this time there's a double cap spawn. Again, Blaze can't go top anymore, or else they'll just get dug on and get killed. So this lane is just completely sacrificed by Team Liquid, and this is a similar thing that happened when Hero's Hearth and Dignitas both ran the Solo Sport Abathur comp on this map. Whereas in those games, the top lane was completely sacked. They could never go there. In this case, the top lane is only sacked during objectives, but that's still a big deal. Alright, so this time, Raynor's here, and Blaze was just mid clearing. And I believe Raynor got scouted. Yeah, Raynor... So Heroes Hearth actually knows the layout of Team Liquid's heroes. They saw all three here. They see Raynor on this cap, and they see Blaze mid clearing. So they actually opt into this engage. And again, Ishbu somewhat voluntarily walks into the Garrosh. They try and go on Li Ming. This is actually a thing you can do against Li Ming. You cocoon someone else, because if you try to cocoon Li Ming, she blinks it. That is what pro players do. Unless you're in melee range of the Li Ming, or you already forced her blink cooldown, at this range, any good Li Ming player will blink the cocoon. That will just happen. But what happens is a Li Ming player sees a cocoon happen on their teammate, they really want to laser it immediately to get them out. So that's what happens here. The laser comes out, but at the same time you're burrowing on the Li Ming, which interrupts the laser or delays her being able to do it because she has to keep kiting. So they do get the initial CC, but they don't chain it. Anubrak's Q is down. And see, this was an issue that I saw with Ishbu before in the group stage, where he would, a lot of the time, I would just see him using his Q, and it wouldn't even be a high impact Q, and then he wouldn't have it for the chain CC, because I'm pretty sure that Anubrak's burrow into his Q is just a chain CC. You cannot blink out of it or do anything about it. Which is what would have happened here on Li Ming, because she was lasering. So it would have been burrow into Q, into Dahaka Tongue, she dies. But because there's no Q, she gets the blink off before the Dahaka Tongue. And now there was a cage and an ally, Garrosh ally throw on the white main who came out of the cocoon. And now suddenly Heroes Hearth isn't in quite as good of a spot. They're still able to disengage because of the cage, but now all of their ults are on cooldown, and now this is a better spot for Team Liquid, where Team Liquid still has this ultimate. Heroes Hearth has ISO and Arrow, so it's not absolutely terrible for them. Team Liquid still has Cleanse as well. Garrosh's big cooldowns are down, but this is, I mean, maybe it's just a general issue with Team Liquid's comp with their draft, where you give away Maev, and you do pick the good frontliners against it, but you still run into the situation where even after the first engage fails, and a lot of the engage ults go down, you're still not in an amazing spot. Where the engage, even without ultimates, is still very scary with the Maev damage, and the Maev reliability. They're also a little bit chunked out, or poked out. So they get the ISO on the Garrosh, that gets cleansed. He's still blind. And it is still a 2-level lead for a short window. Now only a 1-level lead. Heroes Hearth make the rotation to top cap. If Li Ming tries to stall this, she's going to be gone on. It's very scary for her to stall that by herself. She does a blaze near her. The Hawk is now stalling or blocking her spells. This time a noob respects the Garrosh, burrows away from him. Okay, so Heroes Hearth make an out-rotate there, where they see Team Liquid's 5-man here pushing up very far, and then someone just sneaks up to here. Team Liquid has no map hacks. The only things they can see is what their heroes see, or what this minion wave sees. Whereas Heroes Hearth, they can just press a button and have map hacks. So they know their Hanzo sitting here with only a Dahaka near him is safe the entire time. And they know that Team Liquid isn't even capping this. Though it looks like they do trade off the caps. So again, it's not quite what Heroes Hearth wanted. They didn't extend their experience lead, which they could have tried to do if they give away one cap and then only look to stall one of them, while Dahaka pushes this entire fort down. But at least they didn't lose their lead either, and they're not getting a shot lead either. Which means that if both teams get to level 20, you could maybe say Team Liquid is favored. It's hard to say still, because it's just... Even though they have the significantly stronger front line, there's always just a risk. But Heroes Hearth's comp does need the better execution. So here Maev gets kind of caught. She jumps really early, actually. That's pretty bad. Because right here, they scout this camp. They realize it's done already. Maev E's out. But then he actually just randomly jumps. And if he just jumps the stun, he's completely fine. Garrosh gets dismounted by the minion wave, or you can Q to dismount him. But in this case, the stun hits. A noob has to cocoon the Garrosh. Garrosh could have unstoppable this maybe, but he's not looking at the cocoon. Is he still dead? Yeah, that's really bad. That's even worse than the Anub walking into the Garrosh and dying on the earlier cap here. Because with that death, that means that Heroes Hearth 16 advantage is gone. That means that this fort siege is stalled for a long time, and these shots might even get in if Heroes Hearth doesn't get their map packs out. Okay, they got their map packs out. They know that Team Liquid's not bottom lane. unless they're hiding very well. Okay, they see Li Ming here, so they're going to be able to clear this if they stop it early enough. Cameraman's not showing. And now their map hacks go out the second time. He has the 16 talent for even more cooldown reduction, so it's almost 100% uptime just on Trondile map hacks, without even counting the Hanzo vision arrow. Try to jump out of oil? No, that doesn't even work. He just messed up. It's his first LAN event. On the BlizzCon stage. So there goes most of Heroes Hearth 16 advantage. Again, if Maev didn't die, the Haka could have sold this camp out, which Team Liquid instead got themselves with their 3-man that managed to get here without being spotted early enough. Team Liquid even got to get this bottom camp escorted in, not sure if it actually hit the wall. And Heroes Hearth weren't able to escort in this camp either, which would have done significant damage to this fort. So, again, Heroes Hearth had a setup for their talent tier advantage, which is the biggest advantage where you can execute on a level lead. And again, there was a bad death that pretty much negated it. And here as Team Liquid, you know you're a lot safer because the Dahaka Dig can't just be on top of you for free. Still 2 shots in. Still okay. Dahaka's 1v1ing Blaze right now. Which, or was he? Did he just dig out? Oh no, he's not even there. It's really hard to see underneath those random shiny things. Alright, but it is a triple cap. Again, favors the global, because someone has to cap this for Team Liquid. And that means that this is just going to be a 5v4. Alright. Ally throw actually went on a minion, that's really bad. Garrosh got ISO'd, tongue on Li Ming. Okay. So I don't think this fight went quite as Heroes Hearth wanted it to. Because again, you know you have a 5v4, you know you want to engage. That Anubrak Burrow is also a pretty big issue, where you can't engage as effectively without it back off cooldown, so they have to wait a bit longer. This is a melee ranged cocoon on Li Ming, she can't react to it, or it's significantly harder to, because the animation for it looks a lot like an auto attack, or just looks like him being on a mount or walking around. Here's the Dahaka Dig coming in. Garrosh is a bit far forward, but he has self-unstoppable if he gets it off in time. Whitemane also has her own cleanse. But someone's stuck in Cocoon, and Reiner's trying to kill it. Hanzo ult misses, which... I mean, it sucks. They get the tether and the cage on Whitemane. Don't quite get it on the Reiner. And their tanks are taunted for a bit. And the Cocoon's almost broken. So Li Ming pops out, and she E's out instantly. Garrosh ally throws a minion, because he couldn't quite get to Whitemane. Was he getting CC'd or something? So he got his unstoppable off, he taunted then. Looks like the minion wave was just so stacked there that it wasn't even possible for him to get the ally throw on Whitemane. Not sure if it prefers heroes, if they're within a certain distance of you compared to minions. I don't play Garrosh. So a lot of stuff goes wrong for Team Liquid, where their Li Ming gets cocooned for a long duration, and their Whitemane gets tethered and caged, and their Garrosh ally throw doesn't go off. But they still get the Whitemane ult off, and the Hanzo ult missed. And by now, Blaze is getting down here. But then they get a tongue on Li Ming. Does she just overextend? Yeah, because Li Ming right here, her blink's on cooldown because she blinked out of the cocoon. She had to walk into this corner to be out of range of the Haka tongue before her next blink came off cooldown. Then she blinks over the wall and to safety. But she plays too close to the Dahaka with her blink slow and cooldown. And she gets killed for it. And now Heroes Hearth just wins the fight. There's not enough damage to go through Taunt healing. Because there were 3 minions right there on top of Whitemane and Garrosh, so that just makes the ally throw really hard. Okay, so not perfect for Heroes Hearth, but they do finally get their advantage out of the global. Not finally, but second time now. Nasty tongue. Yeah, it was a good tongue. You know the Li Ming doesn't have blink, so... Or maybe he didn't know. But he went for it, and he got it. They're trying to siege into this, but that's still really, really hard. Into Reiner Blaze, Garrosh. And their siege damage is very poor. Hanzo, pretty much impossible to walk up and auto-attack it, so the only damage you're doing is with Hanzo's Qs and Maev's Qs. Looks like Team Liquid knew. This is kind of risky, actually, by Team Liquid. Are their vision cooldowns down? So there's the Tron Owl. And as soon as it wears off, he goes back to base. And then they see Maiev Dahaka mid. And that's when they commit to the camp. Okay. So they know Dahaka digs on cooldown, so as soon as they see Dahaka walk through mid to top, they know they're safe on it. That makes sense. Completely unimpressed. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was a perfectly executed team fight. Where... Because the other thing, too, is what you want to happen is you want the other engaged things to happen at a similar time into the cocoon. Because if you cocoon, and then wait a few seconds, the enemy team knows they're getting engaged on, and start positioning more defensively. And can adjust their positioning, and they also start expecting Hanzo ult and stuff like that. Whereas if the cocoon happens at the same time as a Hanzo ult, that can catch teams off guard much more easily. Yeah, because it was a failed engage for Heroes Hearth. They got the cocoon on Li Ming. They missed the Hanzo ult. They got the cage and tether down, but that was countered. And then the only reason they even got a kill was because a tongue hit Li Ming. They could have... Let's go back, actually, because what they could have done was look for the Li Ming out of cocoon, too. I want to see if they could have done that. It is also Li Ming overextending a bit here. Was she pressured to stall the cap or something? Not really. Because yeah, they could actually be just looking at... A noob should have his burr up by now. So they could actually just look for the Li Ming out of cocoon. Heroes Hearth very easily could have done that, and they did not need the Dahaka tongue to land for that, because right here, Li Ming pops out and blinks, immediately a noob burrow on her, and then she should just be dead. I mean, they're calling the target on this, and they do see that the ally throw missed, but then she just ults, and has 40 armor. I mean, it was a target decision, where the obvious target is the white main, who's in the Maiev engage. But the Li Ming was cocooned very out of position, and could have also been targeted. Trying to force them wait? No. That's ridiculous. They didn't even sidestep the dragon arrow, it just pretty much completely missed. Would have been more impressive if they just turned on the Li Ming out of cocoon right away with the Anubrak burrow into the Dahaka tongue, but they had to rely on a Dahaka tongue, hard to hit skill shot to actually land. To be able to get that kill. And if they don't get that kill, they probably lose this, just like they lost the earlier one. When it was just a 5v5. Rainer's a lot stronger at 16 when his Q heals him for 1000 HP. Okay. Where are your map packs? Heroes Hearth? So there's Hanzo Vision Arrow. So where's the Tron Owls? Okay, so it's definitely... Oh, there's the Tron Owl. And then they stack it with the Vision Arrow, so there's actually downtime in their vision abilities. And then while there's downtime on their vision abilities, here Ishbu really wants to scout this bush and get vision on this bush. With Blaze and Li Ming mid and Dahaka doing top camp, but there's no vision abilities, so he actually walks into a garage and dies. Crowan thought they'd be able to break Cocoon sooner, he was trying to ult Li Ming, no. There's no way they could... I don't even think the Dragon Arrow was on top of the Cocoon. Let's go back one more time. The Dragon Arrow just missed. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't know. Even if the Cocoon was broken and the Dragon Arrow hits her, there's a white main cleanse and a Garrosh ally throw to counteract that. I really think that was not going for the Li Ming, but it was on top of the Cocoon. But I really don't think it was going for the Li Ming out of Cocoon. Pretty sure Team Liquid used everything they had that could damage the Cocoon right when the Cocoon went down. Rainer autoed and W'd. White main dropped an E and auto-attacked, I think. That's another very bad death for Here's Hearth. Again, you don't even just have Tehran for your map hacks. You have 2 map hack abilities. So you should really not be face checking into Garrosh in Fog of War. The Haka's still getting a ton of value. In the top lane, it's a good ISO. Just being safe. And they see Garrosh zoning here. Hold on. What is this? So, Anub is still dead when this spawns. The Haka did finish off top for it, which is really good for them. This is only 3 shots. Yep. But now they have to stall this until Anub gets back. And Hanzo is actually pretty late here too, which is one of their easier stalls. And I think they also, the first owl got blocked too. Yeah, the first owl hit Garrosh. Garrosh is sitting directly on top of Li Ming to block owls. So is White Mane a bit. Okay. So then Crowan steps up to stall with his E. How long did Hami have vision on them here? I want to know that. Looks like, oh no, he's completely blind. Okay. So this is actually just a really bad spot for Heroes Hearth. They have 2 heroes basically face checking blind. And by now, Garrosh could be in either one of these angles to punish them. So they're actually pretty fortunate that it's the Maiev that gets gone on. And Garrosh also doesn't seem to taunt. Oh yeah, Garrosh is really greedy with his taunt. Because he could just throw taunt that. But this is one thing you can do on Maiev. He gets thrown and queued. As soon as the CC wears off, he E's and then uses his D. And during the duration of his D, his E moves far enough to get over the wall. So there's no counterplay. There's no counterplay to that. You have to chain CC that. Otherwise, he just does. That's just what you can do on Maiev. And I think, would he have gotten one shot if the taunt just went down? Li Ming combo plus Raynor, who's charged up with a Q. He probably just gets one shot. White Mane did miss her E though, so there's no root. If there was a root follow-up on the taunt, he's 100% dead. But I think he still should just die. I think Garrosh was just greedy with taunt. Because it was off cooldown there when he got thrown in. And now with that happening, right here, where taunt got even wasted, and Anub is coming back, suddenly, especially without taunt, Garrosh is a lot less scary when you can't just chain CC people for 3 seconds straight with throw into taunt. Now suddenly Anub could walk into Garrosh and just got thrown and queued. Should they have given up on that? Maybe they should have, honestly. It's kind of rough because their comp or at least it wants to be ahead. It doesn't need to be ahead, but it is. If you aren't ahead, then you do need to have better execution than Team Liquid once it gets to level 20, when both sides are level 20. But I mean, I can't actually show fog, but right here, here's the owl. And now the owl wears out, so there's, 1 second longer there. So the owl wore out, Maiev doesn't have vision anymore, so this is completely blind. They kind of know Garrosh isn't quite here yet, but there could easily be just a blaze charge into Garrosh follow-up. Even Li Ming could blink and follow up on just a blaze charge and almost one-shot. And over here, even Tehran isn't even heal range here. Tehran is not in heal range if blaze does charge the Hanzo. And even here, this should be a one-shot. So I think, yeah, Heroes Hearth could have and maybe should have gotten punished for trying to stall this. Especially when, I don't know, it is kind of weird that they also step up with 2 heroes at the same time to stall. When you know the Hanzo E will stall for sure. Because maybe what Heroes Hearth needed to do was, as soon as this stall happened, my Evi stalled here, then Hanzo calls, I've got the next stall guaranteed with my E. Not sure if he can stall from here with his E. Would have to go into a custom game for that. But if Hanzo says, I'm going to go to here and stall with my E, then at that point, everyone from Heroes Hearth should just be here. Because after this next stall, a new Barak will be here, and they could look for an engage. I think even, maybe Garrosh was just expecting White Mane to CC off of the Q, and he didn't need to taunt, where she would just E and then W here for the 1.5 second root, and that would just kill. But neither of those things happened. I think, yeah, all the Li Ming spells even miss. This is only Raynor damage that actually hits. Or no, her W hits. but none of her Q hits, and it's just Rainer's auto attacks. So there's no Rainer Q, there's no Li Ming Q that hits this. Plus whatever other auto attack damage would be coming out from other heroes. It's just a rough situation where these single pickoffs at at pretty much the worst possible times are really screwing up their macro plan and putting them in awkward spots where they just have to give away the objective or take risks. Hold on. I was drinking some apple juice. Alright, so they know Taunt's down, and Hero's Hearth says, this is a half-health Blaze. Li Ming just got shrunk by an owl, too, and a new Barak is coming in. So they call for an engage. So they go for the Hanzo ult. Li Ming actually blinks away from it, but she blinks back, and the Blaze charge pulls back, so the explosion point of the arrow ends up being on top of 4 heroes, which is pretty insane. That's best possible case for Hero's Hearth. Hold on. A noob has the bigger AoE. Can you not just burrow on all 4 of these heroes with a noob? Just first of all, let's slow this down so we can look at the stun timers more accurately. Because this is a 2-second stun. So it seems like a noob even burrows in early. Yeah, a noob burrows in a full half-second early. So we either could have waited a bit longer to get further forward, or burrowed for longer. Because I feel like this is a tight enough clump that you should be able to get a 4-man burrow with the 16. He doesn't have Underking? That's Underking, isn't it? Or you mean the burrow range? Hold on. So he does not have... Yeah, he doesn't have the range. Where'd he burrow from, then? Maybe that was just a max range burrow. Homie wasn't there? Yeah, Homie was tapping too. So again, really good thing happens for Hero's Hearth. This time, instead of a melee range cocoon on the Li Ming, this time they get a 4-man 2-second stun Hanzo ultimate. But then the rest of the follow-up just isn't there, where a noob could have walked a little bit further. I don't even think there's no way that's a max range noob burrow. He could have gone at least a little bit further and gotten white main. But his burrow completely stacks with the Hanzo ult CC. So this isn't CC, and you don't even get the damage out of it. Then the Q does CC, and it hits 2 of them. But then also, at the same time, the Tehran stun was also stacked with the Hanzo ultimate. Yeah, they know they're not killing these tanks. I mean, I don't know. ISO's even down. And for sure that was called. Maybe in the moment you forget that ISO is down because it was used just here to save Dahaka when Garrosh was running out of them. But I feel like when you get a 4-man Hanzo ult stun, and you have an Anub, and you have a Tyrande, even without the Maiev there, these two should be dead before they get unCC'd. Muscle memory for the ping? No. By now players should be used to 0 MS playing online. Because when you're scrimming, you're also on 0 MS because you're right next to the Blizzard servers. Yeah, it seems like the burrow isn't full range. At the very least, it should have gotten white main from where he burrowed from, and if he walked a little bit further, he should have been able to get all 4. Maybe he might not be able to get Garrosh with the burrow, but I feel like if he burrows to like right here, it barely gets the Rainer and the Garrosh. I'm not familiar with the AoE of this talent because it's really hard to tell. This series would look a lot better for them. I mean, Arthalon was never a shot caller for them or anything like that. Like, they lost out on the individual synergy, and they lost out on maybe the overall experience, like competitive experience, and maybe the overall skill level on the heroes or on the role. But the things that are going wrong for them have been they walked into Garrosh and got one shot, and they haven't hit everything for their engages to go perfectly. And that hasn't been on Hami at all in this game. Where he had the mess up here where he got picked off, where he didn't jump the blaze stun. That was bad, and that's an individual mechanic thing. But this team fight here and this team fight down here had nothing to do with Hami. I don't think that had anything to do with Hami. Especially bottom lane, when a Li Ming out of Cocoon, Li Ming with her blink will always, if she's mashing the button and you're on top of her with Maev with your W, she will not get tethered. The auto attack animation will get cancelled because her Li Ming's blink will cancel it. He doesn't have land experience. He played in open. It's very different. So they could have had 4 seconds of chain CC here pretty easily, and instead they only have 2. They do get the tongue, but by now... So it looks like they're trying to call Blaze as a target, but the problem is the Garrosh doesn't get CC'd by the Anubrak Q, or by the Tron stun, or anything, so he's able to just ally throw out. So then Blaze barely lives, and then Garrosh is still unstoppable, walking away. Cocoon immediately lasered, and now Maev finally comes back from her tap. EID. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. And then Homie does try to go in as soon as he comes back from his tap. He E's forward, tether, everything. He gets thrown, throw into 0.5 second stun. Hold on a second, my cat's being annoying. Luckily he's well trained, so I just need to tell him to go out and he leaves. So he tries to engage, but instead he gets thrown into a stun, and then he gets exploded. How much of this damage is Bunker? Not actually that much. It was mostly Li Ming Q and Rainer's autos, but you can see why Team Liquid picked these 2 heroes as their first 2 picks instead of something like Tyrande or something like the Haka, because Maev goes in, and it actually looks like she does nothing, because she kind of doesn't, because someone gets ally thrown out, people just hop in the bunker, and does this cage wall ever get even broken? It only gets broken when Blaze comes back out of the bunker. So the cage is actually 100% together, and heroes inside it get in the bunker and then get out on the other side, and the cage never affects them. And that's actually pretty insane. And that's why Team Liquid picked these heroes, is because of that. Because Maev is so strong, you do have to have answers to her like that, because otherwise you just lose team fights. She just E's on your backline and cages them in, and then your backline dies. And then the team fight's done. So you have to have the counters to that, and they do, and that's why this team fight wasn't just a full team wipe in favor of Heroes Hearth. In favor of Heroes Hearth. But again, the issue, I mean, maybe it was Hami going too aggressive afterwards. Here. Maybe he could have jumped as soon as he got unstunned here and survived. But probably not, because he's up against the bunker, and it's 4 people in a bunker, he's dead. He's dead as soon as this happens. So maybe this is over-aggressive, where you see some cooldowns be down, but just a Garrosh throw and a bunker kills him here with some basic abilities, and that's kind of insane. But I think the real issue is here, where there's a 2-second Hanzo ult stun, which is amazing, but then the follow-up on it is very, very poor. Hami Ian was a mistake? No, you have to Ian to be able to get tethers on the backline. Because what else does he do? Maybe he could have just tethered Garrosh here, actually. Maybe that's what Hami should have done. Maybe that's what a more experienced Maev player does. Is he just does this and tethers the Garrosh, and just holds the Garrosh in place for his team to focus. Maybe that's just what needs to happen. I don't know if they even kill the Garrosh then, honestly. I don't think they even kill the Garrosh, because the thing is, it's not like he can pull the Garrosh back, because the Garrosh still throws him, and he still probably even dies. And even if the Garrosh gets really low, and he's thrown here with a tether, the Garrosh still gets in the bunker. So I think it's actually just impossible for Hami to do anything in this fight without just getting thrown, and then a bunker being on top of him and him dying. Got another ult. Yeah, that's pretty possible. Because it does seem like there hasn't been a single fight yet, including this one, where Cage has gotten any value. Cage has been 0 value, ultimate this game, for sure. This game is on Hami? I mean, this game, Team Liquid has 3 kills so far in this game. 2 of them are on a noob, who walked into Garrosh twice and died. One of them is on Hami, who walked into Garrosh, or didn't dodge a Blaze charge, and wasted his jump and then died. I mean, those are the big mistakes. There could be small execution mistakes with this team fight down here and this team fight here, which there definitely are. And there could be other issues with, say, the Tron Owls not being as effective, or something like maybe the vision abilities being stacked here, which led to a noob face checking Garrosh. But big things first, at least. I don't think... Maybe the game is partly on Hami, for sure. But I think if you're calling out one person for this game, so far, it's been Ishbu, I think. Where twice he's walked into Garrosh and died. And then this engage here has been just not very good. When I feel like it should have been two Team Liquid backliners just dying here during the Hanzo stun and the follow-up. Okay, the Leeming stall just barely doesn't hit, and then Crone dies. What is this? So he's in Blaze Oil right now, and then he's walking... Hold on. So you're trying to get this cap here, sure. Okay, so you're trying to zone a bit, and trying to show confidence at least. You know you have a jump, which is kind of safe here. And that's his plan, is to jump here, I guess. He can also jump here, though. And if he walks up a bit, he could jump here as well. But then he sees Leeming blink over here and throw spells. And I think he tries to block it, but he reacts too slowly. I'm not totally sure. Or maybe he just swaps target to just say, Leeming just blinked, I want to go on her. But the entire time, Rainer's going on him, and by now, when he swapped to Leeming, now he has no other jump option. He cannot jump over here, he's out of range, or here. And Garrosh is too close to him. This is a less impactful death than the rest of them, but Crowan's Hanzo was carrying this game? That's insane. Crowan's Hanzo... That was a really, really good ult, where... Let's go back to when he shot the ult. So right here, he saw them going on him, but Blaze was blocking the arrow, and then right here, he pokes Blaze out, he's half HP, and now he sees... He even angles it, I'm pretty sure. And then he gets the ult down. That's a really, really good ult. That's the best play he made this game. Other than that, I mean, what has he done? He's checked some bushes with his W or his E, and he's killed some minion waves bottom. Great W's this game. I mean, later on. Sure. But so far, there has not been anything insane. 130k damage. A lot of that is poke damage. Just like very irrelevant poke damage. Because you'll be able to see that in the difference between healing output between Whitemane and Tyrande. If Whitemane just has 100,000 more healing, then all of it's just poke damage that got negated. And now Team Liquid has a 5v3. And they're getting mid for it. And what's Team Liquid's decision? So they just killed Hanzo here, and they're 5 mid, so they out a mini wave. So this is just the perfect situation where this is the most obvious thing to do, and the best thing to do is just push with your mini wave that you're right on top of, kill the fort. Nice. What do you do after this? What is your option? You could go to this fort. There's no camps up. I'm not sure what exactly the timers are. And Maiev is also... No, that's a 30-second death timer. So they could go... They don't have the tanking to kill this. The wall's up. Okay, so they're making the call. They're on this boss. And then after the boss, they go to this fort. That's what it looks like. The first two went on Garrosh. Where does ISO go with this team fight, actually? I'm wondering. Oh, no, it's just down. Never mind. I wouldn't really count an ISO just having to be used here defensively as bad, because he had to be that far up because he killed this fort. So he was at a safe distance, he was in a safe situation, he did have to use a 60-second cooldown ult to secure his escape and his retreat, but that was fine. I don't think that was an issue at all. The first ISO in this team fight, he was trying to hit Whitemane in the cage, but Garrosh blocked it. And then the Garrosh got cleansed. So, I mean, he could have looked for the ISO on Leeming out of Cocoon or something like that, but it's not like he just threw ISO in the wrong direction and missed it completely or something. And then he also had this ISO here on the Blaze, which was really, really good. Him and Hami getting that gank on the Blaze in his rotate. Okay, so now Team Liquid's caught up on experience. They're a bit behind on shots. Heroes Hearth is still map hacking top lane. They only see 2 pushing here, so they know Team Liquid... If Team Liquid had heroes here, they would be pushing the fort, because Team Liquid knows, especially seeing Heroes Hearth heroes here, there's no reason to have heroes sitting here in fog defensively. If they have heroes here, they will be doing damage to the fort, no matter what hero it is. So when Heroes Hearth only sees 2 here, they know there's 3 Team Liquid heroes that are not here. and they're not here on this mini-wave because you don't see them yet, and they weren't here where the owl went. So that's where Heroes Hearth knows that they aren't. And the next owl goes to this camp. And there's 2 showing in the wave, Garrosh shows in the owl. So now they know exactly where the entire team of Team Liquid is, even though only 4 of them are actually showing to Heroes Hearth minions and buildings. I mean, we haven't finished watching the game yet. You guys are spoiling things. One thing Team Liquid could have done, maybe, is... Let's see. How many minions did they have here when they finished this fort off? One thing they could have tried to do is, because the issue they run into here is when they take this fort and go to boss and then go to this fort, Heroes Hearth gets to take back this fort for free. And what they could have tried to do is leave this fort on low HP. The only hard thing with that is that this mini wave being here means that it might be either too high HP or Heroes Hearth could still manage to get it killed if they let the mini wave push it in. Playing professionally since Warcraft 3. Yeah, so this is not optimal, where this fort is basically recapped for free by Heroes Hearth. I think they maybe could have tried to leave it at maybe a quarter HP with the ranged minions that were still there, and hope that the ranged minions don't finish it off. So that Heroes Hearth are at least a bit delayed finishing this off, if it does even die. Because otherwise, if it's on really low HP, then what you can do as Team Liquid is you wait for the next cap to spawn, then you walk up with your Blaze, throw a WQ at it, maybe throw Rainer's Banshee at it, and then backdoor it, without Heroes Hearth being able to do anything about it. There's no mule, there's no way to stop that if it's at 1000 HP or less. So, in the end, they catch up on experience, they catch up on structures where they were down this. They still have the disadvantage of the global, and but Heroes Hearth is the team that's pressured on engages, because Raynor has 20 Banshee, which is really strong. Whitemane has Cleanse, ult, Unstoppable ult for 1 second. And Blaze has upgraded Bunker, which is ridiculous. 50 armor out of the Bunker. XD. Also, double throw Garrosh is very strong. So Heroes Hearth has brought 5 heroes down to deal with this camp. Make sure they don't lose this fort. This Banshee. I don't know, I hate the ability. What happened here? So there's a Blaze Oil that goes down on Crowan. He's pretty far forward in the first place, and then Garrosh Unstoppable walks at him. The Anub Q also misses. And again, this is an Anub Q that I guess it's okay to slow down the camp. But again, if a fight happens, he just does not have his chain CC. He's just not able to chain CC a target. And oh look, a fight happened. And he's not able to chain CC. Luckily, Garrosh is extremely punished for this, where he gets the target on this, but he gets immediately tongued, and that's a really good, right as soon as the Unstoppable ends. Yeah. Does it actually stop the taunt? Could he not have taunted? Throw taunted still? Let's slow it down. No, he could have throw taunted. I think he got greedy again with his taunt. I think there's a window there with his Unstoppable bar. One more time. Because taunt is not instantaneous. It's like 1/10 of a second. But I think he had enough time there. Yeah, he for sure can taunt here. For sure he can taunt here. You can even see here. Oh, not quite. Hold on. Alright. I'll try and pause a little bit better right as Hanzo flies over. Right there. Right, even here, 100% he could have throw taunted. He's still unstoppable right here, and he could have taunted at any point right after he threw. So this could have been a throw taunt, and probably should have been a 1-for-1. Because if Hanzo's taunted, he lands, he's still taunted. He tries to auto the Garrosh, maybe walks to the left a tiny bit, but otherwise he's just standing still and gets Blaze charged. And instead the Blaze charge gets cocooned and doesn't even hit, and he manages to jump out. He doesn't get cleansed or anything, he just walks to the next jump target. And this is one thing to be aware of. Walls are not strictly flat, and on heroes like Hanzo you can actually see the geometry of the walls. So for example here, this is pointing out, so you can jump over it. It doesn't have to be an actual wall, like this one, that's very obvious. It can just be a very small point in the terrain, in the geometry, that you can jump over. Greedy to go deep, looking for a throw. I think maybe you're expecting to trade for the Hanzo 1-for-1. I mean, like, obviously you walk in the enemy team, you die, and you don't get a kill, that's bad. But that's not the plan. I think you probably do know that when you go for this, you might be dead. Maybe he was expecting Blaze to peel for him, because Blaze could have charged the Stahakatung and then bunkered him, while his team focused the Hanzo. But again, there was no throw taunt, so Blaze felt pressured to charge the Hanzo. Yeah, and that's the other thing I'm considering, is he actually just willingly saying, I'm going to trade myself for Hanzo? Is that a winning situation for Team Liquid? And I'm not sure. Because that is a lot of damage off Hero's Hearth, and they don't have the Tron 16 for the damage there. But it is still a Splash Contagion, Dahaka, a Rewind a Noob, a level 20 Maiev with Cage, and whatever 20 this is. Expecting White Mane Cleanse. White Mane's not in range. I mean, maybe it was a miscommunication where the rest of Team Liquid could have walked up, because there is a lot of pressure on the Hanzo here. And they're instead in a very defensive position still. But again, they're really scared. There's even a Maevi out. Like, they don't want to walk forward into a Maevi that can tether them. And yeah, Rainer's also not even in range for this. It looks like just miscommunication is a big part of this for Team Liquid, where Garrosh sees an opportunity, and maybe he calls it, maybe he doesn't. And then there's no Rainer reaction until Hanzo's already thrown. And there's no chain CC off of this, where White Mane doesn't get the root down, Blaze doesn't get the charge down, there's no throw taunt, Blaze does not save the Garrosh, though he probably wouldn't be able to, because the Cocoon goes on Blaze no matter what. Should Dahaka have tried to eat the throw? I think anyone that eats the throw should just die, to be honest. Because that's... Maybe they're expecting Hanzo to be able to jump out. Because he is very close to being able to jump over this well. But he barely doesn't get in range, it looks like. Maybe no, his jump doesn't get caught because he jumps here, and he doesn't have the level 20 for 2 charges. So... Maybe they're expecting that Hanzo jumps out here, Dahaka burrows if he keeps walking forward, or just tongues, and then they're okay. Because anyone that gets thrown and taunted should be dead, and they should be dead. But there's no... And if Hanzo got thrown and taunted, he's dead. If Dahaka gets thrown and taunted, he should be dead as well. But the taunt just doesn't happen, and that's the issue. Where there's no taunt, so their turret doesn't die. There's a Cocoon on the Blaze, so there's no saving the Garrosh at this point. Rainer wasn't even in range to follow up on the Hanzo, so no damage goes on Hanzo from the Rainer. And at this point, your engage is just terrible. Luckily, Bunker's completely broken, so even in a 4v5, Bunker's still... like, what other thing forces Hero's Hearth back in a 5v4 with Starfall down, with a ton of ults on cooldown already from Team Liquid, and Garrosh dead? What other thing could possibly force them back other than a stupid fucking Bunker that just sits there and does a stupid amount of damage and gives everyone 50 armor and throws down slow fields? And this hero got buffed, in case you didn't notice in the patch a day ago. This hero got buffed. So, heroes are still... I mean, it's just like, imagine if there's no Bunker here, right here. Imagine what happens to Nurok. Imagine what happens if there's not this stupid cancerous thing sitting right here. He's just dead. He doesn't just get to disappear from existence and then pop back out with 50 armor. And while he's disappeared from existence, he does 500 DPS at this point. 4 or 500 DPS. No. Nope. Yeah, Blaze clearly needs to have his charge actually just not have a cooldown and just cost 50 mana. So you can chain CC until you run out of mana. That sounds balanced. Because that should be a 2 for 0 if there's no Bunker being OP, because White Mane should just be dead there.